Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Carnivore Talk Monday night open mic event that we do this every Monday. And this is of course, our casual conversation where you too can be on the screen, just like Paul and Jeff here. We've got room for 10. And over the course of the next, say, 2 or 3 hours, people come and go. And we talk about carnivore, whether you are a carnivore or not a carnivore. You're more than welcome to join us as long as you're kind and ask questions. If you are a carnivore, we'd love to hear you talk about all the amazing benefits and experiences you've had with a carnivore diet and a carnivore lifestyle. And so people come and go, and we enjoy having this conversation. It really makes Monday nights a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried it yet, please join us. It's a different experience when you join us live on camera. We also invite all of you to participate in the chat. We have a nice, wonderful family of individuals who will have a nice conversation carrying on in the chat. If you have any questions, please put a few Q's in front of them and use a question mark at the end, because then the software I'm using will highlight it for me, and I'll make sure to try and get to it in a timely manner. Now, sometimes we do get carried away in conversation and we get behind on the comments. So if you ask a question, please be patient. We will answer it. We answer every question every night. And if you have to go, we understand. You can come back and watch the replay and see your question get answered. So that's that. We're having a good week up here in Ohio. I had the privilege of being interviewed on Target Prime Ribs channel on Saturday. You can watch that over on his channel, or there's a copy also sitting on my channel. And weather has improved dramatically over the last several weeks. I have complained and moaned about how cold it is. 0 degrees. Well, we're up at like 45 today, and I think we're looking at 60 either tomorrow or the next day. And I tell you what, I'm in heaven. But someone who hasn't had to wait for good weather here is Jeff. How are things doing down there in warm Texas?
Fantastic. Yeah, we're probably getting down in the 50s or 60s at night. We're up in the hitting low to high 70s and even touching the 80s a couple of times this past week. So the weather's great for us. We actually got some good rain here Saturday, I believe it was. Real good rain. We got over an inch of rain. So we're real pleased with that. That helps my stock pond out and helps my grass get ready for spring. I've already got some green grass starting to come up.
Oh, wow. We still have maybe 2 months yet before we start seeing some fresh green grass pop up. So that's interesting to hear that going on in February. All right.
I was telling you before we got started, I spent the last 3 days cutting brush, cutting a bunch of underbrush, trying to get as much of that done before the spring growth hits. It's something I should have been doing all winter long, but I was just so busy with other things. There's just never enough time to get it all done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I knew you've been busy with the move and getting everything organized as well. So that's all right. The land ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. How are you, Paul? How's things going in your neck of the woods?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Warming up nicely, above freezing every day, and you can see the snow cover starting to get little patches of green here and there. The grass popping through here, like around the trees or wherever, and sidewalks are melting back. The roads are melting back a little bit, and we probably still got another. It's just we haven't gotten. We've been in the 40s a little bit, not a lot though, and just slowly melting off, and it's not getting too cold at night, so it's not freezing, making ice or problems like that. So not too bad at all. And I just kind of spent the week. See, there seemed to be a lot of Carnivore Channel is interviewing a lot of people over the past 5-6 days. There's been a lot of interesting. Sometimes you hear the most amazing stories in these interviews. You get to know somebody who you may have watched and didn't really know their complete story. And I remember the first time I heard Amy's story, Rockin' Amy there. I thought, oh my God, how can anybody have so many problems, you know? And I thought, geez, by the time we got to the end of it, it just went on and on and on. But by the time she got towards the end of it, I'm about ready to cry. I thought, man, she just, it's got to be one of the top 3 or 4 miraculous carnivore recoveries.
Mhm.
Got to be one of the, right up there with, the other one that always comes to my mind is, semi-retired Bob. Man, he was walking death. And just the amazing, tremendous leaps he made was just, and those are good. That gives everybody else hope, And
Yeah.
and sometimes you think, well, maybe I'll go off a little bit, and you think, well, they made it, I do think carnivore people are a certain breed of people, though. I think we just have a certain amount. We're a little bit different. We got more grit, more determination. That's just my opinion, but.
Well, I would agree with you. I think especially some of the examples that you cite, individuals who were, as you said, walking death, when they've gone on a carnivore diet and now they've got a life ahead of them,
Yeah.
So, that's influential right there. That's what drives commitment and motivation. Someone like that is going to make dietary changes that he sticks to for life. So because no one wants to be on the brink or go to the brink of death, come back, and then nobody wants to return to the brink of death again. I mean, that would be foolish. So those of us who felt like we had our arm around death, or one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel, as they say, and the carnivore diet completely changed our circumstances for the better. That's we're sold. That's the way we're carnivores for life. So that was the title of my first video too. I'm going to be carnivore for life. So,
for many of us, the pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change. That's our motivation, for those of us that are healing,
Yeah. And so we're all of us are on these health journeys and have reversed some pretty dire circumstances. It's we are a different breed, so to say. And that's also why we become very evangelical about our lifestyle as well. So when you experience benefits like this, and a reversal of health to something that's like better and pristine, when you were told that you'd have a certain situation for life, or that you would never recover, or you would never get better, and now you did. You want everybody
yeah,
to have that kind of hope, to have that kind of experience too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's
It's just
because
like
we
Bob
love
said,
people. So
yeah, like semi-retired Bob said, it's almost like God went into his computer and turned it to the right for.
yeah. All right,
I'm
you're
allergic
cutting
to
out.
statins. I consider them from God. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
I hear you now. Yeah, you're allergic to statins.
Yeah, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
What if I'd been on statins for the last 35 years? How much worse would I be off, And the other thing is,
I don't know.
The doctors look at me in amazement. Well, I don't know either, and my kidneys are functioning very high for being high blood sugar. Walk around with the high blood sugar I've walked around with for 33 years. My kidneys are like fantastic. They're not just good; they're and the doctor just looks at me and goes, "They just don't believe it."
Yeah.
I think it makes them angry.
Yeah. It could be. So yeah, we don't know what you would have been like if you had statins. There are individuals who have been on statins for decades. They tolerate them just fine. There's other individuals that as soon as they start a statin, they experience incredible side, and not incredible in a good way, disastrous side effects. With muscle aches and things like that, and they can't tolerate them. Probably like yourself, and you got to get off of them. So, yeah.
Bilateral muscle pain. It was brutal.
Right. Yeah. So why subject yourself to that? That would, that would be terrible. And of course,
again,
go ahead, Jeff.
Then again, how many of those that appear to not be having any side effects are actually having side effects, but they just seem normal to them as part of aging or whatnot? Loss of libido, muscle loss. There's a lot of times you're sick and you don't know you're sick because it just seems natural. You've been in such ill health for so long, you don't know you're in ill health. Many of us experience that when we come to carnivore. How many of us, we came to it for one issue, to possibly heal one or two issues, to see what it would do. And in our journey, we start seeing things clearing up that we didn't even know were wrong. We weren't aware of it. It just seemed like a normal part of life. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, I didn't know I was sick. But all of a sudden now I feel so much better. I'm healed.
Yeah, that's a good point. So individuals could over time start to experience side effects that they chalk up to aging, or they chalk up to maybe another illness that they have, when it could actually be a side effect. So there's actually a lot to be said there. That's very accurate. So that's a good point too. So we still don't know how Paul would have turned out, but we do like how Paul's turned out right now. So
yep,
we're getting there. Always, I mean, it's only a little bit every week or so. I can see it in my charts, and it's it does keep me inspired. And I don't know, it's down to 1 cup of coffee a day. I haven't had a Diet Coke now in almost going on 2 months. That's gone. The amount of artificial sweeteners I was consuming, that's drastically reduced, 90% less. And, I think as you progress, one thing I've noticed, I've been at this for a while now, 3, 4, 5 years, and when I go off track, if I go off track, it really hurts badly. Okay? Whereas when I first started out, and in the first couple of years, I have a big slice of apple pie, no big deal, Maybe got hurt a little bit or something, but no big deal, And now, if I take in carbs, it's 6 days to get my blood sugar back straight and around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's something that I don't know why it is, but let's just say, hey, carbs at 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 50 carbs. So my blood sugar spikes out like hell. Well, the next day I could be back eating a 0 carb diet, and about 10, 11 o'clock, my blood sugar spikes again. The only thing I can think of is the brain, what all my metabolism is thinking, well, yesterday at this time he needed 50 grams of carbohydrate. So the liver says, okay, let the glucose flow, Let the gluconeogenesis just crank it out. I don't know.
Well, you talk about the progress you make, and you say you go like this, you say a little bit, but you know what, slow progress is still progress. So definitely enjoy it, and don't take it for granted. I do. That's awesome.
I do, and I hope it's like weight loss. The closer you get to that, what you think's your ideal weight, the less you lose each day. And I mean, I've got a 90-day GMI right now of a flat 6. My A1C right now should come out to be about 6 when I go to my test. It'll probably come out a little higher. But Tony Hampton's got a beautiful, the paradox of A1C, I think he calls it. It shows how to adjust your A1C because you're a carnivore. Shows you how to determine how long it gives you a good guesstimate of how long your red blood cells are lasting. I didn't know this, but the A1C lab test is standardized, and they use 106 days for the life of your red blood cells. That's the number they use in their calculations. So based on that and some other things, I can't tell you how to do it. Every time I do it, I have to go bring up the video. And but you can adjust your A1C for your carnivore diet. It's not a perfect exact science, but it gives you a good idea.
Oh yeah, the whole thing's not perfect because even modern medicine can't say for sure that every red blood cell of yours is going to last 106 days. So there's some variation there, absolutely. So you mentioned eating an apple pie. At the beginning you could deviate, have some apple pie, wouldn't bother you, get back on track. But now, after some time has gone by, you deviate, have an apple pie, and it might cause some stomach upset and some blood sugar, spikes and things like that. And I was just thinking that happens to me. That has happened to me too, where before I started the carnivore diet, I used to eat everything. Literally everything. There was almost nothing I didn't like. I had learned to pretty much have a taste for anything and everything. So I was not a picky eater whatsoever. And I ate everything. And since I've been on a carnivore diet, not any time, but there's many times where not many times. I got to watch my language there. I don't deviate all the time, but when I do deviate, oftentimes I get a horrible reaction, and usually in the form of gas, bloating, digestive upset. My body wants to expel this stuff right away, like as a foreign object in my, and it's something else. And I've heard people say that because you have been abstaining from it, you lose some sensitivity towards it. And I don't know. I think this kind of goes back to what Jeff was saying about the statins and not knowing that you were having side effects because you thought it was normal. I think when you were consuming that previous diet, a lot of the things it would do to your body, you just assumed that was normal. And then now, after eating clean for so long and not experiencing those side effects of just food, plants or processed food, now when you do deviate, you realize, oh, my body doesn't like this stuff. So those are a couple different perspectives on that too. I subscribe to the latter instead of the former, but this is what made me think of it when you brought up the apple pie. So I've had the same thing happen with a salad. I used to eat salads all the time, and now if I have a salad after being 3 years a carnivore, hour later I'm in the pot in the bathroom, and it's going right through me. And then I'm like, well, that's weird. I don't remember it happening before. But you know what? It may have happened before, and I just didn't pay any mind to it. So I may have had those reactions before, and I thought it was normal. So just a little food for thought there. All right. Let's say hi to people in the comments. We have first in the door was Linda Flanagan at 7:30, 30 minutes before we went live. And Paul at a close second. Probably logged in at the same time, but she just fired off her comment first. We got Sandy Blythe and Target Prime Rib. And Paul said that your live with Bob was super great. I really enjoyed it. Yes, that was on Saturday at 4. And again, you can either go to Target Prime Rib's channel to his live tab or my channel to the live tab and catch the replay. We talked for about 2 hours, and I went through my carnivore story, my diet story from the beginning, going back decades, and some of the health issues that I deal with, kidney disease, ulcerative colitis, and the like. Let's see here.
It's a good interview.
Thank you. And let's see here. Scroll through. Bunch of comments from me. Rick says, "What's the prize? Duck." That's funny. So, no. So this was for January's World Carnivore Month. We had a giveaway for the entire month. It was going to be $100 gift card towards Carnivore Crisps. And the way you could get entries was by participating in a certain topic over on our forum, our community at carnivoretalk.com, or by becoming a member that month, or by joining us on screen that month. So I've got all these tallied up, ready to spin the wheel, and everything's weighted according to how many entries they earned right there. We'll get back to that, and we're going to spin that in a moment. So thank you, Charlie, for watching on Saturday. Tom says he's suffering from a bad headache, but I'm sure Bob is tired of me. Oh, you can jump on. That's okay. Yeah, you can jump on if you like. If your headache's not too tough for you. So Frank is in the house, and so Uncle Charlie says, "Where's Pretzel Pete?" I don't know. He'll probably pop in eventually here. Geezy the Carnivore is Jeff on the screen here. Grandma's Crochet Corner is here. Good to see you. Brian Dish says hello. And we got Bacon Runner from Maine. Let the good times roll. I imagine the weather's improving up there for you too. And Retired Rick is here. Good to see you, Retired Rick. And John Together Strong. Good evening. Glad you could join us. Charlie says, my cousin picked up his cow, grass-fed on his farm, $10 a pound. I got 40 pounds. He sold out. Never had meat like that before. Awesome. Me and a couple friends, we were talking on Sunday at our congregation meeting about going in on a cow together. There's 3 of us that might pitch in and go pick a cow, and but I need to go buy a new chest freezer and put it in my basement, because the last time I had a chest freezer, I put it in my garage, and I did not know that there were refrigerators and freezers that were rated, quote, garage ready. And so this was just like a cheap Hisense. I think probably got it from Walmart. And I put it in the garage, and it lasted a couple years, but in the winter, things inside it would thaw out because it would not trigger to keep cold. And then I had bought a quarter cow, and we had that in there along with some other groceries in stock. But there was one summer day, hot summer day, we're like, man, something died in the garage, and which we had happen before. No. We had a possum get in there one time and fall in one of my 5-gallon buckets that I use for tile setting, and it died, and that stunk up the garage. And so I started cleaning out the garage, looking through everything, trying to find where that dead animal. It must be. I can't find it. It must be small. It must be a mouse or a rat or something, And I clean this garage inside and out, and I'm like, man, it's just, I can't find it, and the smell's just getting stronger. And then I looked over at the freezer, and I'm like, oh no. And I opened up the lid of that freezer, and oh man, it just hit me. I slammed that down. It was so disgusting.
I would advise anybody that has a freezer, especially if it's not something you get into all the time, get a freezer alarm.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know if something like that existed, but
yeah.
Get a freezer alarm, because you only have to have it happen once.
Yeah,
I lost so much food.
Oh yeah. I know my daughter, she had a big chest freezer, and they just put a whole cow in that thing. I mean, it was full. They had some workers out installing a water softening system, and apparently one of them unplugged the freezer to use that plug and neglected to plug it back in, and they lost all the meat in it. Fortunately, it was a really good outfit that they were working with. In fact, they're the same outfit that installed my system, and they cut them a check for the whole amount. So it's good outfit. If anybody was around North or Central Texas, I'd give them their name in a heartbeat. You know, I highly recommend them. But everybody makes mistakes. You know, they covered it. But yeah, freezer alarm, it's the only way to go.
Yeah, so I got one of these full face masks with the filters on each side, and that still didn't keep the stench out too bad.
No,
And
no.
I gloved up, plastic clothing and stuff, and I had to bag all that up, throw it in my dumpster, and then while I had it open, like immediately the flies were like, and I had flies everywhere trying to get involved in the cleanup process, and I drug that thing out to the driveway, and it was empty, and I dumped it over, and the melted ice and juices just poured in the driveway. And it stunk. I had flies just landing in the driveway just because just to try and, you know, because the smell of that attracted them. And I put that freezer down on the end of the driveway, and it was so gross. And then someone comes by, and with a truck, you know, it's like a scrapper, you know, and he walks up the driveway. I'm still in my garage doing some rearranging, and he's like, "Hey, you throwing that freezer away? Can I have it?" I'm like, by all means, you can have it, but here's what happened to it. I just cleaned it out. You know, I had all this rotten meat in it, you know, rotten flesh, because it died on me. And he's like, "Oh, that's okay." So he backs into my driveway, and he's trying to lift this thing up in his truck by himself, which is kind of awkward. And he's got the lid open, and he's to try so he can try and hold it. He needs something to hold on to. And man, you just hear him cussing up a storm. And he's like, he yells up at me. He's like, "Man, this thing's gross. This thing stinks." I'm like, "Well, I told you." But he carted it off, fortunately. But yeah, so I haven't had a freezer in a few years now. But now that I'm a carnivore and I'm interested in buying a cow, so I got to go get one. And yeah, now that I've heard of a freezer alarm for the first time just 5 minutes ago from Jeff, I'll be looking to a nice freezer alarm as well.
You get your next freezer, get your freezer alarm. I've got 3 freezers, 2 chest freezers and 1 stand up. You know, I got to have them for all the animals, you know, that I raise and butcher. So I need them.
And you got to have a way to power it up if your power fails. So
I have two generators, one 5,500 watt and the other one 6,500 watt.
Yeah, I gotta get a generator too. So like probably 2 or 3 summers ago, we had a bad storm come through, and it knocked all these trees down, took power lines down, and we were without power for 3 days. And but a friend of mine had a generator, so he came over, you know, set it outside, drilled a little hole in the foundation, and hooked up. He was able to hook up half my circuit panel that had my refrigerators on it. I was able to power half the lights at my house. So he saved the day, fortunately for us, and I didn't have another disaster. And it was kind of weird because for 3 nights you could drive all around the city and nobody had power except my house. that was pretty interesting. So
yeah, something I haven't done on this house.
The battery packs are very good, and they typically come on sale in early July at tremendous discounts. Last year I saw one with $1,700, and the 4th of July price was $700.
Oh, nice.
So the top of the line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
That's when Amazon has their like July 10th or 12th, 9th, 8th, whatever. When Amazon has that big sale thing, that's when to buy those things.
All right, good to know. Jeff, what were you going to say?
Well, one thing I haven't done on this house yet, but it's on my list for the future, is put a lockout on my house where I can plug a generator directly into my household current, and that way I don't have to run extension cords or nothing. I have to run one cord, plug it into an outlet on the outside of my house, and it'll run the basic things that I need in my house, you know. But I got to go in on the breaker box. I got to put a lockout on it because you have to lock out the feed coming in from the outside. Otherwise, you'll be sending electricity down the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if there's anybody working on the lines, you got a power outage, and if somebody's working on the lines, you send electricity that way, you'll kill them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I would advise anybody to do that. If you are in an area where you have power outages, you know, it's just the smartest thing to do is put you an outside unit in a lockout, outside plug in a lockout where you can feed your house from your own generator. Just kind of a self-sufficiency thing. You know, you're talking about that freezer going bad. So I was given a freezer. My father-in-law had inadvertently unplugged his freezer out in the barn, and some meat went bad in it. And so it stunk pretty good. And I said, well, what are you going to do with it? And he says, I don't know. You got somebody that'll haul it off? I said, yeah, I'll haul it off. And so I took it home, and yeah, it stunk. So what I did is I scrubbed the snot out of it. I used every cleaning solution, bleach, and everything else I could come up with to scrub that thing, and still couldn't get the smell out. But I took a can of Folgers coffee, opened it up, and stuck it in there, and just left it in there, and that absorbed those smells. And now every time I would open that freezer, it would smell like fresh coffee instead of smelling like rotted meat. Worked like
Never
a champ.
heard of that.
Yep, worked
Cool.
like a champ. I read it. I don't know. I think I did a Google search or something, you know, and how do I get rid of these smells? And one was using baking soda, which I tried. That didn't do a real good job. But when I put that coffee in, the coffee took care of it. It not only absorbed it, but it kept the whole thing smelling like fresh ground coffee, which was great.
Very good. So we see Thomas Target Prime Rib popped up on the screen over there. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm good.
How's things over there in Jersey?
The same.
The same?
Nothing exciting now.
All
I
right.
wish I could say there was something exciting, but no, that's
All right. Very good. Well, we had a good time on Saturday. And I was looking over at the views.
I hope
on
everybody
channel.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time. We got to use up 2+ hours, and we had a lot of comments over in the
It's
chat.
probably easier than it sounds, you know.
It was, when you first said your lives often last 2 to 3 hours, I was like, wow. I was like, my story is pretty concise. I can tell it in like 15 minutes,
You'd be surprised though.
So I probably took 30 to 45 to tell the story. And now that I think about it, like I had more details to add now that it's been 3 years, of carnivore. And then after that, we just kind of got to shoot in the breeze, and yeah, time flew. It was a good time. So I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
Let's see here.
I love it.
Over in the comments, we got a super chat from Linda Flanagan. It says, "Thank you for your great lives. Thank you very much for your generosity. We really appreciate it."
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlie asked the question, when is Paul and Jeff going on Target Prime Ribs channel?
Oh.
I know Paul's on the schedule.
Paul's on the schedule for April 11th, I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
whenever
I'll
Jeff
get
wants
done.
to come on, just let me know.
Yeah.
I guess
you
I ought
got-
to get her done since you gave me an open invite on your show when you're talking to Bob.
That's how we reel people in.
All right. Yeah.
We'll
Very
get
good.
together.
Yep.
You
So
just
stay-
email me and we'll set a date. Definitely.
So stay tuned. Yeah, Paul in April. So a little less than 2 months. A little less than 2 months away.
Less than 2 months, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's already past the 11th
right.
for February. So yeah.
And then Jeff to be determined. Not too long after that, I'm sure. So very good.
And I just landed Dr. Kiltz to come for April.
Mm-hmm.
Also, April 22nd, I think it is.
Good
All
deal.
right.
Look
Very
forward
nice.
to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get all the 3 KMT members, so that's going to be my complete collection,
Charlie says old man carnivore Mitch is one jacked up older man, abs and all. I think you mean jacked, like jacked, right?
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope that's what he meant.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I don't know how fit if he's jacked.
He had shirt off a few years ago, but I think he said that I don't think he's like as good as he was because of the stroke, but because he wasn't really doing any workouts or anything like that. But he's pretty jacked still. I mean, he's still
due to that stroke, he couldn't exercise like he had been exercising.
Exactly.
You know, if you followed him for a long time, you've seen his progression where he had a workout room, where he was exercising quite a bit, and that stroke really put him behind on that.
I mean, his
for us old folks, it don't take long to start losing it.
Yeah, I mean, his recovery is still amazing.
Well, it's all due to his diet.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. We got Sandy Blythe says, I see Butter Bob just put out another video. Now I saw that too. There was a channel called Butter Bob, and I guess he hadn't posted in 10 years, I think it said.
Yeah. I guess he's trying to catch up because he's doing a lot of videos lately.
I'm unfamiliar with Butter Bob. Who knows about him?
I didn't know about him until Rick mentioned it and mentioned him on his show. And so I went and looked him up, because Rick has mentioned it several times in the last few times he's posted. And so I decided I better go look this fella up because I didn't know him either.
He's been around for a long time. He's sort of like one of the OGs of people that make content with.
Doesn't he go back to like 2014 or something?
Yeah. I mean, I remember I used to watch him before when I first learned about carnivore, because anybody that has a tagline, "Butter made my pants fall down," I want to see why.
All righty. Let's see here. There's some starring comments on the side here, so we're getting behind already. Grammy G2 says, hi all, just popping in to say I had a kidney transplant on February 6th. Doing wonderful. Kidney is working wonderful. All right. Cool. Well, that's good news. So I know you were the listener who was in a similar situation as me.
We lost,
with the chronic kidney disease. So I'm glad to hear you got a new one that's functioning very well. And, it might be a path I end up going down myself someday. I'm still kicking against the goads, though. I'm still trying to get by with the pair that I was born with. So, and we'll see how that, I don't know how that'll turn out. Either I'll continue the way I am so far, or I might have to eventually hop on that transplant list myself. So only time will tell. But I'm glad to hear the good news, and I'm glad to hear that you're feeling good. So that's awesome. Charger Mopar says, I am a walking heart attack. And, of course, we all are as carnivores, so he's being facetious here. So he holds the record of probably anybody in the community that's active on YouTube, at least, for carnivore. He's been carnivore for 42 years. So when someone says carnivore is not sustainable in the long run, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
So
him and that gal up in Canada.
Yeah, Maggie.
Maggie,
she's in her 80s and been carnivore most of her life. And then, of course, we have the Inuit, and I can't remember which of those tribes is referenced in Africa.
Maasai.
Is it either the Maasai or the Hadza? One of them. I think you're right.
The Maasai, the meat eaters.
The meat eaters.
It's interesting about that tribe is they travel 60 miles one way to get salt and minerals to haul back for their cattle. They travel to get the salt that minerals. Yeah. The cattle actually pull. I don't know if it's a sled or a wagon or what. But they go and harvest salt 60 miles away to sustain their cattle with.
Mm-hmm. We used to do something similar here in America. Our pioneers, our forefathers, especially the frontiersmen going back to 1700s, they used to send out expeditions to go to the salt licks, and they would spend a week just refining salt gathering up, drying it out, crystallizing it, loading it up in barrels. I want to say that was real popular in Kentucky at the Blue Licks. Does that sound right?
Yeah, there's a place in Virginia called Salt Marsh. It's famous, and during the Civil War was the major source of salt for the South.
Yeah.
Very historic area.
So man's been doing this for a long time, going and hunting and gathering the salt. And, one thing we do, like just for our animals, we put out salt blocks, for the cattle, salt rocks for the goats and the sheep. And it draws in all kinds of wildlife. Everything wants that salt because everything knows instinctively that it needs that salt. Hence, why it was so ridiculous that modern medicine was telling us to avoid salt when it's something that we need, that's essential. It's an essential mineral for us.
So it's interesting that you mentioned that, Paul, about the tribe that travels 60 miles to get salt, because it just makes me think of, Dr. Barry in a video that he had years ago. And he was talking about how we don't need to be afraid of salt because, the modern medicine says you should limit your sodium, it's bad for you, don't have it. But then we know as carnivores and, reading books like the Salt Fix or whatnot, that, salt's actually good for you and people and animals actually crave it. And he said that in a video that an animal in the wild will travel miles and miles to find salt. And then so you make a reference to the Maasai who do the same thing. I thought that was pretty interesting to see the parallel there. And we source our salt from all over the place. So I'm pretty good. I like the salt, and I'm told to stay away from salt because of my chronic kidney disease. But every time I get a blood test, my sodium is actually low, and I salt to taste pretty regularly. So salt's not harming me in any way whatsoever. What's your favorite salt?
Salt and insulin work together in the kidneys.
Yeah. There's a question that you could answer in the chat. Those of you who are here and watching, what is your favorite salt? We've got just regular, the woman with the umbrella iodized salt. You've got pink Himalayan salt. You've got Redmond's real salt. You've got Malden's sea salt. And there's other brands and other varieties as well. I'm just curious, what's your go-to salt on your carnivore diet? I am a pink Himalayan salt kind of guy. So I like to get it where I grind it myself with the cap's got the grinder on it, turn it upside down and grind it myself. I like pink Himalayan salt.
I'm with Thomas. I like the Maldens.
I do have
and I like the smoked too.
I do have a tub of Malden salt. So when I have steak, I do I've seen Sean Baker do and sprinkle the salt flakes over the steak after cutting it up and enjoy a nice salty steak that way too.
Had some on my smoked meatloaf this evening.
Smoked meatloaf.
You can make your own salt flakes from any salt.
Mm-hmm.
And growing salt crystals is amazing. It's a fun thing. If you got kids, it's a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, Malden's talks about how they make their salts. So, they get it. I think they get it from the sea and they boil the water out of it, and then you got the remaining crystals that they turn into salt. I believe that's the company that I read has that process. Yeah, so that's pretty fascinating there. All right, let's see here. Going back to our chat. We were talking about statins and side effects earlier. Dementia is a side effect of statins. Mm-hmm. You know what? That's right. A lot of people who are on statins for decades, I made the comment they could be on decades and have no side effects. But then they get dementia in their elderly years, and they chalk that's something like Jeff said. They'll chalk that up as a natural course of aging, and it might not be an age-related dementia at all. That could have been a statin-induced dementia. So yeah, no, that's a good point. Good valid point.
Yep.
So, Of course, you know, none of us here and none of us in the carnivore community are really big on the statins. we kind of discourage anybody from considering those.
Mm.
And that's because we don't think LDL is the big boogeyman that modern medicine claims it is. So
I think that's the second smartest thing I did besides turning carnivore was getting off statins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's
which one?
a statistic now that 25% of the American public is rejecting statins. 25%. The
Good.
doc offers them a statin, 25% refuse.
Which means the doctors will be trying all that much.
Oh, yeah,
harder
they'll
to
try
get us
even
on them
harder.
or get
Yeah.
our kids on them.
Yep.
That's probably why they're trying to get kids on them. They even want to put it in the water supply now.
Oh yeah, that's actually accurate. I read the article. Someone was like,
I've
"We
heard
should
that
put
too.
statins in the water supply." Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, yeah.
That's. I don't.
That'd
know.
be wonderful, huh?
Leave my water alone.
Yeah,
Well, while we're at it, why don't we just add some LSD to the water too? LSD in the water would be a good idea, I think.
I might like that
Yeah.
more than a statin, actually.
You know, I didn't know it, but there's different kinds of LSD, and Princeton developed one back in the 60s, and it was the love pill. Okay, so say you and your wife aren't getting along, you're having some marital difficulties. You both pop the pill, right? It's another type of LSD. Oh, honey, you look so handsome this morning. Well, is that a new dress you got? I've never seen it look so good on you, you know? And the government came in and confiscated everything. They wiped it out.
Sounds like they had a song. Sounds like that song, "Love Potion Number 9." So, no, I hadn't heard that before. So that's
True
interesting.
story.
All right, let's see here. Going back to our comments here. I just can't deal with the pain after, so why cheat? Yeah, so that's no, that's absolutely what I was getting at, and you know, like, you know, I've told the story, I've told the salad story, and then I told the chili story, you know, so like I got invited over, you know, to someone's house and for hospitality, you know, they were showing us hospitality. They had made some chili, and I'm like, okay, I'll have a small bowl because I didn't want to be rude. And oh my, man, I used to eat chili and beans all the time, but I hadn't had any in like 3 years, and I didn't have a lot either. But all the rest of that day, I got home and gas, bloating, diarrhea, terrible. So I'll never touch legumes. Is on my do not touch list. Part of the personal Bob food philosophy. Legumes is out, and I went into that knowing that I was eating something that's technically on my list, and I should have known better. So, but I had no idea it was going to do that because they had never done that before. So, yeah. So yeah, that's the purpose. If you do carnivore as a elimination diet, that's what you're looking for. If you decide not to stay strict carnivore forever, you want to start adding things in slowly, one at a time, over, you know, one thing new every couple of weeks, and see how your body reacts. And if your body reacts violently, like mine did, or like yours is doing, when you mentioned pain, you know, if a certain food you put in your mouth is going to result in pain, well, then you don't put it in your mouth anymore. So that's the way you're supposed to treat it when you do it, as if you're treating it as a elimination diet. If you want to say carnivore diet, but as an elimination diet is what I'm referring to. Jason is on day 47. He says, I'm not sure when it happened, but my intense pain in ankles is gone. Awesome. I have much more healing to do, but I just realized this small win. Yes. Awesome non-scale victory. That's good to hear. It's those kind of realizations that make you go, wow, you know. And you know, losing weight is great, but when you being pain free, that's even better, in my opinion. Jason says, "Thanks, Jeff. I'm the guy who checked in a few streams ago that was bummed that I wasn't healing. That was only 1 month in. Happy to slowly be getting there. Good, it's good that you stick to it.
Not everything's instantaneous, so
Yeah, you stick to it. Some, there are these people that like it in a month. They're like, I can't believe how well I'm feeling. But then there's other people that, they go 60, 90, 120 days. And they start asking themselves, I don't know if this is worth it or not. And then all of a sudden, maybe at the 6-month mark, they start seeing major changes for the better.
Well, I mean, I think there's always something that's going good. You just don't always see it.
Right.
You just don't always recognize it because it's not something you were looking for. So, just because it's not what you were wanting doesn't mean nothing's happening.
Well, and I responded to Jason on this that it's like who is it? Anthony Chafee is fond of saying, you walk 10 miles in, you got to walk 10 miles out.
Right. I saw that in the chat before.
It's just not. It's just one of those things where, like I always say, everybody's different. Everybody's physiology is different, but sometimes some people are more broken than others.
Mm-hmm.
And it may take them longer, or they may see more radical results because they're so broken. And those that aren't as broken may not see as radical of results as what we do. It's the thing is, you got to stick with it, no matter what. And I love going back to the example of, and especially for women who, because of hormonal issues or whatnot, they're in it for the weight loss, and it may take them 6 months before it kicks off.
Yeah.
Something has to heal before they, the priority of their metabolism is to heal before they're going to start losing weight. So you can't get discouraged. You got to stick with it, and just know that regardless of what it's healing or what it's not healing at the time, just remember it's still the most optimal, best way for a human being to eat, in my opinion, and the opinion of pretty much everybody here.
For the most part, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's see here. Family is the hardest to convince. They will not change for nothing.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I tell you.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, that's true. That's like we were talking about on Tom's program, that my family and my extended family, like cousins and stuff like that, we get together every couple months for open mic night. They host it, and we go down there to kind of honor it. And they all know I've dropped like 60 pounds. They've complimented me on that, but then I'll get just burger patties, or I won't eat any vegetables, and they know that's a complete change from the way I used to be, say 3+ years ago, or before the pandemic or whatnot. And I start talking about how healthy I am now, because we used to get together and I'd talk about all my problems. I'd complain about my aches and pains and how I'm feeling old and everything, and now I'm just talking about how great I feel. And I start talking about the benefits of the carnivore diet, and after a while, they'll start getting smart alecky with me, like, oh, what are you now, Dr. Bob? And it's so annoying, because it's like, well, okay, I'm not a doctor, but you don't have no idea the amount of research and studying that I've been doing. And so that's one of the reasons why I joined a health coaching course. So when they come back at me with like, what do you know, Dr. Bob? I can be like, actually,
you've done a heck of a lot more research and studying than probably 99% of the doctors on this planet when it comes to nutrition.
Right.
Which makes you a better informed doctor, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the first thing everybody wants to say. I have other sites that I'm on. One of them being Quora. I'm actually a a paid member of Quorum and monetized member of Quorum, and I will post question or answers to questions when it comes to diet and nutrition. And of course, I get a lot of flack on there, and a lot of kickback. And that's one of the things they want to come at me with is, well, so where did you go to medical school? What are your credentials? Okay. So tell me, what nutritional medicine did your doctor study who's giving you nutritional advice? Because he didn't study nutrition. So I'm more qualified than he is simply because I've actually done the research. I've actually looked at the papers. I've studied more on this subject for longer than he did. So I'm going to say I'm more qualified. And that ain't tooting my horn or acting like the big dog. It's just the truth. So Bob, you don't have to be a doctor to be more informed than a doctor, especially when a doctor has never studied that stuff. He's just magpieing what he was told by somebody in medical school, over a 2-week period. And that person is just putting out what he was told. He never did the research, because it wasn't until you get doctors like Dr. Chafee and Baker and Barry especially, he changed because he actually started doing the studying. He had never studied nutrition. He didn't know nothing about it. He didn't become get into keto and carnivore until he actually started researching and doing and looking at the studies and found out how bogus all this stuff was. So he's one of the very few. And of course, then you got Baker and Chafee that did the same, and Dr. Kiltz and all.
Yeah,
thank goodness we have those doctors to advise us. Those are my doctors now. Those are the guys I go to.
Yeah. I mean, their blindfolds were like removed, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. So that's why I said in the interview that's one of the reasons why I was interested in taking a coaching course. So I could say, it's something to come back with. Like, I'm not a doctor, but I am certified health coach.
I have done some studying. Yeah. That's probably the same reason I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the clout, it's not even clout. And it probably won't even be clout to them. Probably won't even matter, but just gives me a little, maybe a little more credentials, so
it's like for your peace of mind, basically.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, David. How you doing, David? Consider this your microphone check. What's going on there?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Your microphone never works on that computer.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we can.
Yes.
All right. I heard that.
It's just like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
So what I did was instead of the computer speakers, I'm using these headphones. So I think that may help. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. Pretty good. We're about to spin the wheel here, actually, and see who our Carnivore Crisp winner is. So,
ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah.
Last week, my work went real late, and I wasn't able to join. And I just cut in, walked in the door, and oh yeah, Carnivore Talk tonight.
Yeah. All right. Well, glad you could join us on screen.
Yeah,
By the way, I'll take
to
this
see you all.
opportunity to invite anybody who's watching, whether you're on Facebook, X, or here on YouTube, to join us on screen. I'm going to post the link right now. There's a link there to StreamYard. And if you click that link, you'll show up here and I can add you to the screen and you can join the conversation with the 5 of us who are now on the screen. We would love to have you. All right. But while we wait for you to join us on the screen, we're gonna go over and spin this wheel because we're an hour in now. So Sandy Blythe says currently there are 46 watching. That's what I got also, 46 here. And there's 22 thumbs up. So please, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up yet, please do so, because when you do that, the more thumbs up we get, the more eyeballs YouTube will throw the live in when they refresh their feed.
I just
page.
refreshed and now it's 25. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So if you could hit that like button, that would be great. And if you could share the link to this video somewhere on social media that isn't spammy. We don't want to spam, make unwanted, promotions anywhere. We want to be decent here. And please do so. That would be great. So yeah, so we're going to bring the wheel up. This thing's been here spinning for a while. So the way this works is remember when if you became a member, if you participated on screen, or if you participated in the carnivoretalk.com community in this one particular topic, you got entries. And the more times you were on, the more entries you got. The more posts you made in the community, the more entries you got. So what we have is everybody who participated, and most of these individuals said they wanted to participate. Some I didn't quite talk to individually yet. These are the ones who qualify, and they are put in here by the amount of entries that they earned. And so that's why some people have a bigger slice of the pie than others, but this is completely random. And so this is called wheelofnames.com. Very useful for something like this. It's completely random. And I need to click it over.
A lot of green on that wheel.
Yeah.
Paul's been busy.
Yeah, Paul's quite chatty over on Carnivore Talk. So he's earned himself a lot of entries.
Every 90 days, every 30 and 90 days, I reset my goals. I think about what I'm doing, where I'm headed, how I'm going to get there, and what am I missing? What am I doing good? And my goal is, my dream is, it's a dream because I don't know if it'll ever come true, but I hope I beat whatever diabetes I got. And we'll find that out in the next month or so here. I just hope I can just shout from the rooftop. You know what?
I believe we will, Paul.
I can survive without insulin, and I can, I may not be able to eat any carbs, but I can control my blood sugar without any injectable insulin, or get it to such a low damn point that if I don't take any insulin, maybe my blood sugar goes to 140 and just stays there or something. Doesn't go out of whack. And that's just I'm constantly analyzing, thinking, and you never know when you listen to somebody's interview what they did in their journey.
Yep.
You may jumper your mind and say, hey, that's an idea. I hadn't thought of that. Maybe they're right. If you told me 2 years ago I was going to quit coffee, I would have told you you're crazy. And, and I don't know if it's happening. I'm down to 1 cup a day. I should say 1 mug a day, 14 ounces of coffee a day. That's it. And I was drinking 60, 80, 90, I don't know. A couple quarts of coffee.
90 cups?
I was drinking, just 90 ounces.
90 ounces. Yeah, I know.
But, yeah, I know. You just go stick it to them, But, I just thought, well, I'm a man of many addictions. Started with carbs and went everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Very good. I've been coffee free since 2019, so I do drink tea now. I did do a substitution. So, but and like you quit soda for 2 months ago. So did I. I haven't had soda in 2. I've had soda water, and but yeah, very good, excellent.
I got 5 bottles of Saratoga for $5 this week.
Oh
wow!
Yeah, so you like the carbonated Saratoga, right?
Yeah, it's a blue bottle.
Yeah, they make still water that's not carbonated also, but I like the carbonated water.
Yeah, I prefer the carbonated.
It's my favorite, Saratoga. And what I'm drinking now, which someone asked about, I'm gonna bring that up in a minute. But anyway, let's see here. I can't can't bring the question up yet. Why? Did you delete it? Oh, there it is. Okay, no, StreamYard is just not refreshing it. Let me click over here and click back. I got more comments over here in my open YouTube window than I do over on my StreamYard. So that's kind of odd. Yeah. The StreamYard is like 15 comments behind. But yeah, Dr. Nelson says he sees his name there and there's like a emoji. And so because you appeared on a live in the month of January. So that, like I said, everyone who qualified is on here. Now, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spin this wheel. I'm going to spin it a few times. Because I'm going to.
I've never seen a wheel go that slow before.
Well, I have it. So it's going to spin for 30 seconds. It's going to spin for 30 seconds when I actually click spin. And I'm gonna spin it a few times because if the person that gets the first result declines the prize, then it goes to the next person. So that's what I'm. So I'm gonna grab like the top 3 here, and so we'll go ahead and get this started.
There's more than one prize.
No, there's only one prize. But we had this last year where the person that won the prize didn't want the prize, and then we did it another month, and the person that won the prize never claimed the prize, and so then we were like, okay, well, what do we do? So this is our way of getting around that, and
Tomas.
It's Thomas. Okay, all right. So
Congratulations.
Target Prime Rib is the winner.
Good deal.
Thank you. Excellent.
And actually, you can save me from spinning. Do I have to spin again, or are you going to claim the prize?
I'll claim it.
All right, there we go. Okay, we're done.
Me?
You happen to be on screen. All right, very good. All right. So I have your email address already, and I will contact you privately.
Okay,
So,
no problem.
all right, very good. And so that's
Couldn't
it.
have been a nicer guy.
Thomas,
Thank you.
Target Prime Rib is the winner of the $100 Carnivore Crisp gift card. So thank you for participating, everyone. We'll do this again, and maybe over summer or something like that. So be on the lookout. Very good. And this still hasn't refreshed the comments over here. That's interesting. All right. Well, congratulations, Thomas.
Thank you.
Yes.
So going back to the freezer discussion, Rick says get a remote thermometer, and so we got and what did you call yours, Jeff? An alarm?
Freezer alarm.
Freezer alarm.
Just let you know if power's going out on your freezer.
Okay.
I had one of those.
Oh, the remote alarm is probably because I had it in my garage. Okay, and when it got really cold, it stopped freezing the stuff inside and it began to thaw. That's probably what that's a reference to. And he says, I never have fast food. I always keep a spare freezer. Well, that's good. But I'm talking about back when I was newly married, just moved into this house, and it was hard enough to buy one freezer, let alone 2. All right, the remote thermometer is mounted on the freezer side.
I'm sure that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So.
Freezer side or freezer inside. All right. Jamet's here. Says good evening to everybody.
Howdy.
Papa Carnivore is here. Papa Pretzel Pete is in the house. So, of course, he is just as much Pretzel Pete as Rick is actually a walking heart attack. So he's being facetious here too. So now here's something I didn't know. Even if your meat thaws out, you can refreeze it up to 3 times before you can taste it if it's vacuum packed.
Okay.
All right, that's interesting. Yeah. No, we've got. How long can meat be frozen for? Because I've got meat that I've bought like at the grocery store. I've got some New York strips that have probably been in my freezer for 2 years now. That I'm just lazy, and I'll buy a fresh one so that I don't have to thaw. And so the ones in my freezer seem to sit there perpetually. Do those ever go bad? Do they ever get freezer burn?
Yeah.
Yes. From my
I
experience.
just did a 2-year-old chuck roast. It was okay, but it just got lost in the freezer and
From my
laziness.
experience, it boils down, first off, how was it wrapped? How was it packaged?
Right.
You know, because one, if it's vacuum sealed, then no ice crystals can get inside of it. No air was inside of it. It's going to last much longer.
Mhm.
I know, like Paul, I had a brisket that been in my freezer. Gosh, I don't know. It probably been in my daughter's freezer for at least 3 to 6 months, and then it sat in my freezer for 2 years. And I went ahead and cooked it up, and it was just fine. I've had meat that I found in my freezer that's been there for quite a while, you know, at least a year, 2 years. And because it was vacuum sealed, I have a vacuum sealer, or because of the way it was wrapped. Now, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, if you wrap it in cellophane, plastic wrap, make sure, you know, wrap it good and tight, and then wrap it in either butcher paper or aluminum foil, it'll last quite a while. But if it's just in a baggie or something like that, I wouldn't trust it more than 6 months. You know.
No,
Now,
so
if
you
it's
know, at the
big,
grocery store, yeah, at
No,
the grocery
like-
store, it'll be in like this, you know, black styrofoam tray with just the plastic
Yeah.
film on top with the price. That's kind of the way it looks.
yeah, that probably won't last long.
All right, well, maybe
That's
I'll.
why if you watch Mitch when he goes to grocery shopping, what's he do? He comes home, he takes and individually wraps his stuff, and he'll vacuum seal it, and it'll last much longer that way.
So now, does it? Is it like bad for you, or does it just taste like
No.
garbage?
No,
Okay.
it just tastes like garbage. It can get freezer burnt, which freezer burnt is not. You know, a lot of people look at freezer burn and they think, "Oh my gosh, it's ruined." Well, it's not ruined. What freezer burn is, it's a dehydration. The moisture has left the meat. That's all it is.
Right.
And you can actually rehydrate it, or you can just cut that off like you would mold on cheese. You can just trim that off. The meat will not have as good a flavor, might even be a little tougher, but it's still edible.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was curious about then. So if it's going to taste bad, then I could still thaw it out and maybe make it for the dog.
Exactly.
Okay.
Never waste anything.
All
I mean,
right.
anything I'm not willing to eat, my dogs or my cats will. You know, it's like you were talking about that rotten meat in that freezer. It's a shame you didn't have a big cat sanctuary nearby where you could have donated it,
Mm. Interesting.
because they prefer rotted meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a big cat in the wild, it'll take and bury its kill. Bears will do the same thing. They'll bury their kill, or they'll take it up in a tree and hang it in a tree, and they won't come back to it till it's really starting to rot.
Wow.
Okay. Bon appetit. All right, that's interesting. All right, well, thanks for sharing that information there. That's good to know. Like, I got some meat in the freezer, and I'm like, I don't know. Some of it I know has been in there for a while, so it makes me nervous. Now
See,
I
like
think
with
now I
fresh
think it'll be
fish,
the dog food. Yeah.
with fresh fish, what we'll do is we'll put it in a baggie, but then we'll fill the baggie up with water, and then we freeze the fish in the water.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps it fresh.
Mm. Oh yeah, well that makes sense. Yeah. It's encapsulated in ice, kind of like the mammoths up north. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Look how preserved they were.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they even found that one human
Mhm.
that was well preserved in the ice caps.
All right. Very good. Good information.
My
here.
mother kept a notebook, and every package was labeled 101, 102, 103. When
Mhm.
that came out of the freezer, it got crossed off the list. So you didn't have to open the freezer to know what you had. You already had a list.
Papa Carnivore mentions that Butter. Did you see Butter Bob came into the chat this morning on Mitch's morning show? So like Mitch's, I haven't been able to watch Mitch's morning show in a while.
Yeah, I
he
missed
kept
that
he
one.
kept bouncing the time around, and it was just not. I was just not up and out anymore. You know, it used to be I could catch it when I drove to work, but he changed the time, and I'm still getting ready. And now that my son works with me, I don't subject him to carnivore podcasts going if he's riding with me. So I've been missing out on my Mitch in the mornings. So, and I still have to watch the video, see who this Butter Bob is. So he seems to be quite the celebrity here. Sometimes have vacuum sealed meat just in the fridge for weeks. It stays fresh for a long time, unlike veggies. Yeah, that's another thing that I want to try that I haven't is I know if you leave the meat in the grocery store wrap, it'll go bad in like 5 days. You got to use it pretty soon. But I've seen individuals take their meat out of that and just put it on a rack in the fridge. They call that dry aging.
Yep.
And I guess it can last quite a while in there unwrapped. And that's kind of interesting, like, because like it defies what I'm used to seeing, in my brain. So I'm a little nervous to try it. But
well,
and then I heard
technically,
that's really good.
With the dry aging, one of the things you want to do is you want to salt the meat.
Mm-hmm.
That helps draw moisture out of it and helps part of the aging process, and it preserves the meat to an extent.
Yeah, that's something that I need to read up on. Does anybody here dry age their meat like that?
I have.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
I got a salt block.
I dry brine for a few days.
Dry brine. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I forget what it was now. I want to say it was a roast, but I don't think it was. Anyways, I did a large piece of meat. No, it was. Oh, that's what it was. It was a big old rib roast, and I dry aged it for 2 weeks, or maybe a month. I forget now. But I dry aged it long enough to where when I pulled it out, I had to trim all the dry aging off of it. Where the meat dries out. And what's crazy is I see other people doing this, like bearded butchers. They'll dry age for a long time, and then they got to trim off the dried out part of the meat. And I don't know what they're doing with it, but when I trimmed mine, I looked at that meat and I went, man, there's got to be something I could do with that besides just give it to the dogs. So I decided to fry it up. I just put some tallow in the pan and pan fried those dried pieces. And I'll tell you what, they came out kind of like a jerky. They were good, real tasty. So if you try that and if you dry age for a long time to where the meat really dries out on the outside and you have to trim that off to get to the fresh meat, don't throw that away. Pan fry it. I think you'll find it's pretty tasty snack.
Interesting. I'll have to give that a try. All right. Very good. Charlie says, Rob, when are you going to have Old Man Carnivore Mitch and Pretzel Pete on your show? So the only show Carnival Mitch and Pretzel Pete.
Carnival Mitch.
Yeah. So as of right now, the only show that has guests is the one you're watching right now, the one that you've actually been a guest on yourself. So they are more than welcome to come on a Monday night. Click the link that's pinned at the top of the chat and join us on screen here at any time. Now,
and Pretzel Pete's been on here many times too.
Yeah, Pretzel Pete's been on here many times. Now, with that said, okay, I've repeatedly said that one of the original purposes of starting Carnivore Talk was to do interviews, and I've only done one with Jeff. I did one with someone else who then was didn't like it. They didn't like seeing themselves on camera, so they asked me not to post it. And I keep saying that that's something that I want to get to, but I'm trying to figure out what day of the week that I can do it. So finally, and then I was a little worried about getting permission from the wife because I was a little unsure how she felt about my absence on Monday nights. She's downstairs. And but we were talking about it on Saturday. And she's like, "Oh, that's that's fine. I don't mind the Monday thing, and if you want to pick another day, that you can do that too." She just didn't want it to be Friday, So that's the night that we might go out for a date, dinner, karaoke, something like that, and then so I've got Tuesday's too soon. Wednesday, I like to maybe pop in at Dr. Barry if I can. Thursday, I have a religious thing going on. Friday, the wife said is a no. And then I want to do Sunday, Monday back to back. So I'm thinking Saturday evenings, I'm going to start hosting interviews. And so if any, I've mentioned it before, and I got a couple names who've said anytime I want to do an interview with them, they're ready. So I think that's going to fly. I've got it cleared with the misses. So if you're interested in telling your carnivore story on Carnivore Talk, let me know. You can reach out to me at bob@carnivoretalk.com or go in the show notes and click the contact
when
us
you
form.
say Saturday, what time were you thinking?
Well, I don't want to overlap Rick, and I don't want to overlap you. So I'm thinking I got to do either early afternoon or I got to do evening, because you're 4 like clockwork, right?
Usually it depends on the person, but I'm usually 4.
Mm-hmm.
I usually schedule 4 to 6. So depending again on the guest.
Yeah. So we're looking at 2, but I sometimes work Saturdays, so I'm thinking 5, 6, or 7. That's kind of what I'm thinking at, in the evening. And
and even if you did the same time as me, I'm not threatened by it or anything. I just
the competition.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll see. That'll be to be determined. So, all right, very good. And then Carnivore Jerry asks, Bob, what are you drinking? The new canned LMNT? No, this is my second favorite water. Saratoga is my first, but this is Polar. They have a special edition out. I got this at BJ's Wholesale Club. They call it the Dessert Cart Pack. So this one is Apple Crisp, which I thought was going to be disgusting. It's actually very good. Cool. Yeah, there's this 24 pack came in 4 flavors. You had strawberry rhubarb pie. Now mind you, there's no sugar. It's just natural flavors. It's water. It's carbonated water. And strawberry rhubarb pie was kind of like weird. Apple crisp was pretty good, and then there's a vanilla bean that's good, and then there's a lemon meringue that is amazing. So yeah, it's just flavored water. It's just like a LaCroix or a bubbly or a Waterloo.
I drink plain Polar. So
yeah, so that's what I'm drinking over here.
Just plain.
What does that say, Dave? Virux?
Belvie, or whatever. It's from Aldi.
From Aldi's? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just unflavored sparkling water. It's cheap. It's like $3.89 for a 12-pack.
Yeah. All right. No, that's all good. So I've become a big flavored water carbonated water fan. When it comes to unflavored, I either get the Topo Chico or the Saratoga. That's my favorite straight up. I haven't tried the unflavored Polar yet, but the flavored Polars are good. And the reason I like the ones that are, I call it aggressively carbonated. I love the bubbles. So, and this has been, I hated it at first, but I've actually acquired a taste for these, and because I was a big soda drinker, and so I've acquired a taste for these now, and no artificial sweeteners. Like I said, it's just water. It's all good. Thomas, what's the date and time for your interview with Dr. Kiltz?
It's going to be on the 22nd of April at 4:30 p.m.
There you go.
And it's only going to be 1 hour, that particular one, because of Kiltz's busy schedule. So
All right.
Make sure to catch it right from the beginning.
That'll be good. That'll be an hour of power, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So very nice. Charlie says that guy Cole Robinson's snake juice that you can lose your gallbladder if you have too much fat. Oh, is that what? Well, Cole Robinson's kind of a moron.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I say that is because if you ever watched a Cole Robinson video, well, one, he was one of the big pushers of the sugar diet, and we were all, and he calls his viewers fatty and stupid, and so he's like, every video starts like, "Hey, fatty, you dumb moron!" It was just so incredulously rude. But he was promoting that sugar diet. And then I heard he's no longer, I heard he did an about face, and then he was not promoting the sugar diet. He was talking against it. And then I heard this channel got yanked off YouTube. I don't know why, but his mouth probably came to play in that. So, yeah. So you can lose your gallbladder if you have too much fat. So no. I can tell you why I can tell you why someone might say that, though. They may have spent all their lives eating a fat-free, low-fat, high-carbohydrate diet, and that gallbladder was never used, and the bile stored in it turned to gallstones. And then they decide to eat something fatty, and all of a sudden they have some pain and discomfort, and they realize that their gallbladder is blocked. They got gallstones, their gall ducts are blocked, and now they have, inflammation down there. And some people at that point, usually modern medicine will say, "Hey, we got to remove your gallbladder." And then why? Oh, because you ate too much fat. That's what they're going to say. But that's not really true. The problem is that gallbladder, which is designed to release bile when you consume fat, sat dormant because you were just eating a high carbohydrate diet and not eating fat like you should have been throughout your life. So that's what really happens. So, but I can see where people make this mistake. So it's just a primitive way of looking at it and an easy mistake to make. Dr. Nelson says we're blaming the wrong white powder. Don't blame the salt for what the sugar did. Very good. Very true. Yep. Sugar, dangerous. Salt, just fine. Linda Flanagan says she uses Redmond. I know Redmond's really popular. I had someone lend me some Redmonds one time. Somebody lent me some Redmonds. That's a cherry smoke flavor. That's the only smoke flavored salt I've ever had. Someone also mentioned that I guess Malden's makes a flavored smoked salt as well. But I haven't had that. I think Thomas said that, but he disappeared for a minute. Hey, Thomas, did you say that Malden's makes a smoked flavor salt?
Well, yeah. It's right here.
Oh, look at that. It comes in an orange container, too.
Yeah. Somebody was mentioning something about a black volcanic salt, though. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's my next comment, actually. Yeah, I was to say the only flavored salt I've had was from Redmond. A woman down the street lives down the street from me. We actually met on Dr. Barry's group. Found out that we live a mile apart from each other.
Is that crazy?
Yeah, she gave me some smoked cherry salt from Redmond, and that was pretty good. That's the only flavored salt I've had. I need to get more. So yeah, and that was Mark Zahammer. Black volcanic salt is awesome. Malden's is his go-to, and then there's Kosher Rock. So, yeah, I haven't heard of the black volcanic salt.
Yeah,
I'll use
trying that.
I use Redmonds for cooking, and I use Redmonds in my water.
Mm-hmm.
I salt my water quite regularly, but I don't like it for just putting it on my food and eating it because I can't stand the grit.
I've heard it's gritty.
It is. Yeah. It's got minerals in it. And like one person posted on here, they didn't like it because they did a water test, and they see the sand in the bottom of it. And, in my cooking, I don't notice it, but if I put it on my food, I'll hit that grit, and I don't like hitting that grit with my teeth. But in my water, it's no big deal because it all settles down to the bottom, and I just don't eat that or don't drink that last little bit of it. Kind of like old school cowboy coffee. You know, you don't drink the last dregs of the coffee because that's where all the grounds are settled down into.
I had a tea bag burst open on me and I didn't know it. I had a mug, a tumbler that I was sipping out of, and I got to the end and all of a sudden a mouthful of tea leaves. I was like, whoa. Nasty. Yeah, coffee grinds are nasty.
I used to make cowboy coffee all the time. All I had was one of those blue enamel campfire coffee pots, you know, the big ones.
Yeah.
And my wife didn't know how to make coffee at the time. And so I taught her how to make cowboy coffee. It doesn't have a basket or anything like that, no percolator, nothing like that. You literally put the water on the stove and you heat it up to boiling. When it's boiling, you turn it off, dump a handful of grounds in it, and let it seep for 5-10 minutes or so. And then you drip a little cold water into it, and that'll settle the grounds down. And when I would serve that to people, they'd say, my gosh, that's the best coffee they ever had. Well, it's because it's pure coffee. There's nothing filtered out of it. But that's bygone days. I don't drink coffee no more.
And
there she
Lexi.
is.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing so good.
All right, very good. I think I had one of yours starred here.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. Spent a couple weeks eating whatever I wanted, then developed gastritis last Wednesday. Never again. I've been back on keto since last Thursday. Thank you all for your support. Yeah, my daughter had gastritis one time. We went out for wings, and she wanted to challenge me to who could eat the hottest sauce. So we went to I think it was Quaker Steak and Lube, and we worked our way up the ladder, and we ordered the hottest sauce, and we were trying to see who could down the most wings with the hottest sauce. It's a challenge I like to do once in a while, or at least I did. My tolerance for this has gone away. My tolerance for this has gone away after 3 years of carnivore, but I used to love these hot sauce challenges. But she did that, and then she started having major stomach issues, went to the doctor, and was diagnosed with gastritis afterwards. So
It's painful.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right. I had to go to the ER, and it was not fun. I was at the ER for like 5 hours.
Oh,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, were they working on you for 5 hours, or is it just because it was busy and you had to wait for 5 hours?
There was a lot of waiting, but it was more all the tests they had to do and like trying to get my pain under control, which I didn't take any pain meds because I don't know if you guys know this. I have a history of addiction. I think I've talked about it before.
Yep.
But I just took this, I forget what it's called. It starts with a T, and they told me it's basically like a really strong ibuprofen. And so I took that. That helped a lot. I still had a little bit of pain in my back, but yeah. So that helped.
Tramadol?
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I took, but yeah, it was not fun, and I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, well, it's any consolation. 5 hours is a long time, but I waited as long as 32 hours once.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, ERs are just
Mm-hmm.
So when you said you were eating whatever you wanted and ended up with gastritis, can you think of anything particular that may have triggered the gastritis? Was it like hot sauce?
Or you don't want to think about it.
It was everything. I was eating mac and cheese, boxed mac and cheese, ice cream, Cheez-Its, like cereal, all of it. I was just going crazy. And it didn't take long for me to feel that pain. Never again. So now I've been doing a lot better.
God bless you.
All right, very good. And you're working on a keto as your plan currently, right? All
Yeah,
right.
it's just a better fit for me, I think.
That's fine. Keto's perfectly fine. So,
Lexi, stop defying and damaging God's temple.
You're so right.
You are a temple of the Holy Spirit. Stop defiling it.
Amen.
yeah.
Well, like I was saying in the chat there, I came across that passage, Corinthians 6:19 through 20 in my daily devotional, and the Holy Spirit put your name in my head when I read that, and I just felt like, I wanted you to hear that, because as God's special possession, you reflect his ownership and sovereign rule in everything you do. Remember, you were bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body.
I love that. Thank you.
You're
I really
absolutely right.
appreciate that. You have no idea. All of your guys' prayers just mean so much to me.
Well, our heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, glad to hear that you're on the mend and you're back on keto. I was thinking, for those who are on keto, oftentimes we stop and get sheets in the morning. My son will get his breakfast there before we go to work. And there wasn't much there that I could have, but they recently came out with these, they call them keto cups, and one of them is actually carnivore friendly. But for $3.99, you can get scrambled eggs and sausage and cheese, or you can get the Mexican one. They have a pico in that added, which is a tomato and onion and cilantro mix.
Right.
And then they also have one that's got like caramelized green peppers and onions. So, and when I say caramelized, that just means cooked. It's not actually got any caramel in it, but so you got these 3 different cups. So if you're keto, you can have all 3. And if you're carnivore, you can absolutely have one at least. And then the other 2 if you're not super strict. So
Where
just
are
thought I'd
these?
put that out there. That's at Sheet. We have a gas station around here called Sheetz.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
HEETZ. So yeah, I don't know if they're nationwide or not, but
Yeah, we don't have them here in New Jersey, so.
okay. That's I wonder
So
what
they're
the
at least excluding New Jersey. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
They got
Minnesota.
it's a gas station convenience store, but then on the inside they have this kitchen, and they call it made to order, and you can touch a screen and go through the screens and order food, and they'll cook it for you right there. And we have a couple Get-Go gas stations that are set up the same way. So, but yeah, I thought Sheetz was more nationwide, but I guess I'm wrong. So, all right, never mind.
Down here.
All right, very good.
Not one in Kentucky, well, where I am either.
Okay.
All right, well,
I guess that rode your theory there, Bob.
Yeah, hold on there. Let's see here.
Yeah, you ain't made it south of the Mason-Dixon yet.
How
It's not on the East Coast of New Jersey. It's not.
how extant are Sheetz gas stations?
Heard of Wawa?
We have a Wawa, yeah.
Do you?
Okay, so I just here's a haha. All right, very good. So I just looked it up. I'll share this screen here. So here's a map of all the Sheetz locations. They are all in Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, and looks like North Carolina. That's where they all are. So okay, so no wonder why none of you heard of them.
Okay, well, they have penetrated the Mason-Dixon.
We're going to be nationwide.
All right. That's funny. Okay.
Something that's so crazy about when I get into ketosis is, I think I've talked about this too, just the confidence I get. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, like carnivore, keto, just that confidence you get. And like every time I go into ketosis, I immediately want to join lives, and like I start thinking about making YouTube videos again. And
Well,
so
that'd be great.
yeah, it's more motivation for me to keep going, I guess. Yeah.
You're always welcome on my channel too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you need that community.
Yeah.
So it's good that you get that urging, because the community is, it's glue. It's what holds us together. It's what keeps us motivated and keeps us strong, and keeps us in the right mindset to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I started to feel really bad just because I kept going onto lives talking about how I couldn't stick to the diet and how I kept failing. And that made me kind of pull away from the community a little bit. And yeah, so I don't know, but I'm back, so that's good.
And we're glad to have you back, and you come back as often as you need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome on here anytime. And I like I say, if you ever catch the beginning of the show, you're welcome on the screen, whether you're carnivore, whether you're keto, ketovore, animal based, even if you're just eating a standard American diet, even if you're a vegan, as long as you're cool and kind, So, there's no limits here. So as soon as someone comes on and they're not kind, then I've got a little button here that takes care of that. Easy as pie. Yeah.
And,
But
That'll be kind.
you're always kind when you get on, and we definitely we love to take the opportunity to try and encourage you to always get back on track. When you're saying you're having your struggles. So, and we all have our struggles. So,
Right.
So yeah, very good. And I know what you're talking about the confidence. So
yeah,
some people give it different names. Some people call it carnivore clarity, carnivore confidence. I've heard it called keto bliss, and I agree. Like before I was carnivore and I was on a standard American diet, sometimes my head would get into some pretty twisted places, like I'd be super emotional and down and I couldn't think straight and I had brain fog and yeah, but when I'm in ketosis, I feel like a normal person. I'm level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm level-headed. I'm balanced. I feel like I've got wisdom. I can think straight, but when I'm, and compared to before, where I could make a mountain out of a molehill and then the next day be like, why did I make such a big deal out of something so trivial? But I don't do that anymore. So,
And if I may, I actually fell off the wagon for a couple days a few weeks ago. And I actually find it reassuring. That's why I kind of told people about it because, like there's so many new people out there that just don't know. They think that, if you go off carnivore, that you're no longer carnivore or that you failed. And I don't think I failed. I think I just went off, and I don't think you failed either. I think I went off just the beaten path a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think people need to hear that, hey, we're all human.
Mm.
And
I guess part of it was that I lost a lot of hope, and that just.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
always an inspiration there, Lexi.
I like to tell people back when I used to drink a lot, and I don't drink anymore, but back when I used to drink a lot, I used to tell people, sometimes I got to go out and get drunk, get that hangover just to remind myself the next day why I don't want to drink that much anymore.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. DS111B8B. I think I said that right. Says, hi, Jerry. I was still prone to lower leg foot cramps at night while using Redmond's. I switched to Baja and Celtic, and it is solved. Well, I'm glad you figured out something that works for you. So,
I wonder why that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be if I get cramps at night, it's usually because I had a dinner that I did not salt. And that happens from time to time. I might have like I don't know, some like some chicken or fish, or I might go out for wings or deviate a little and have some gyro meat, and it's something that I just don't. Well, so gyro meat's kind of salty, so that probably doesn't count. But but when I'm eating burger and steak or eggs, I'm always salting it. So if I have a dinner, meatballs, I don't salt my meatballs. I just warm them up and I eat them, or I make little meatballs, little cheese in them, but I tend to not salt those. So whenever I don't have salt, that's when I might have a cramps at night. So as long as I'm salting my food, I'm good. So I don't know why you'd have the Redmonds and have problems and then
yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm kind of wondering, and this is a stupid thought, but Redmond's, isn't that a Himalayan salt basically?
No, it's a old sea over in like Utah.
All right, well then, like I said, the thought was stupid. So,
well, no, but Himalayan salt is just like Redmond's. It's just mined in a different area, but it's
okay.
Salt.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if like a Celtic is a sea salt, and
can different salts have different levels of sodium in them?
Possibly. There's other minerals too. You know, there is magnesium, potassium, boron.
Yeah.
You know, so you get.
And didn't Redmond's have a thing where it's supposed to have like a lot of stuff that isn't really as kosher as
I think mercury.
No, I think
there like
is
a
supposed to be
report
really
about
good kosher
Redmond's
salt.
that it
My
has
understanding, it's
mercury in it or something.
Yeah, it's well, what was it? Man, I was just looking at a chart the other day on that. Somebody had posted.
Herman did a.
I can't even remember now what it was in it that they said wasn't any good. Lead, I think.
Yeah, there's something.
That it was high in lead, or could be high in lead. Yeah, there you go. Brandish just posted lead and mercury.
Okay.
Have you guys noticed if you've gotten like headaches from having too many electrolytes? Because I got this electrolyte powder from Liquid IV, and it doesn't have the best ingredients. But I noticed after a couple days of having it all day, I started to get really bad headaches. That would like even if I took Tylenol, it wouldn't go away. So I don't know if you guys have experienced that.
No, but I'll tell you when it comes to electrolytes, and I tell everybody this. I personally would not take electrolytes on a daily basis if you don't need them. If you're getting what you're supposed to be getting from your food, if you're eating properly, which you haven't been lately, but if you have been, you're supposed to be able to get everything except for the sodium.
Mm-hmm.
Sodium is one thing that we struggle with, but magnesium and potassium, you should be able to get it. But different physiologies, some people aren't getting enough of what they need. In my case, I was taking LMNT and then switched to keto chow because it was cheaper, and I had a blood test one day and it showed that my potassium levels were in the danger zone. I was way in the danger zone, and I have a heart condition. And the last thing you want with a heart condition is to have high potassium levels. Potassium is what they use to stop the heart. That's what they use for executions. You don't want to have high potassium levels. So that taught me right there that if you don't need it, don't be taking it. But you got to find out first if you're low. So in my case, what I do is I salt my water several times a day because I know we need the sodium. I salt my food heavily. I do take a magnesium citrate, but that isn't absorbed in the body. I take that for bowel reasons. And the only time I use Element now or any electrolyte is when I'm going to be working outside in the heat all day and I'm going to be, doing a lot of sweat. Today I took an Element packet because my blood pressure dropped. I was doing a lot of heavy work outside, a lot of bending over, and I noticed I was starting to black out, and I took my blood pressure and it was way too low. And so I took an Element to get my blood pressure back up. But so I only use it as a medicine. I don't use it as a daily supplement.
Okay. Another question I have is, while I was at the hospital last Wednesday, I also got diagnosed with kidney stones, which I was not expecting. I don't know what caused it. I don't think it was carnivore or keto that caused it, just because I was cycling in and out of it so much. I don't think carnivore necessarily would have done that, or keto. No. But I'm wondering if chronic dehydration might have, because I was cycling in and out, like going from super high carb to like no carbs. I don't know. I didn't ask the doctors what caused it, but yeah, that's what I got diagnosed with too.
According to Sally K. Norton, it's oxalates.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And did Mitch say something about his kidney stones? He always had them, but they were broken up more, so that's why he passed them.
I've heard people say, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard people say that have kidney stones that by being on carnivore over time, those kidney stones shrink.
Yeah, they get smaller.
And I think Mitch has kidney stones.
Yeah, he does.
And he's not having any issues since he's been on carnivore.
Right. Well, he had before he had his stroke, I know he had some kind of kidney where he had to go to the hospital or something like that. And he said the reason why is because they shrank and then they're able to pass.
Right.
Much
Okay.
easier.
There you go.
So,
So yeah, they will. Apparently, they will shrink. So,
yeah. So eventually you get rid of them. It's just, you know, not everything is under the blanket, you know. It's just
Will they shrink on keto, or is that just carnivore?
well,
Probably
keto,
more.
you're allowing plant matter in.
Yeah.
Plant matter
Yeah.
has oxalates,
Yeah.
especially like, and there are low oxalate foods out there, low oxalate veggies.
Right.
I think I don't remember. It's been too long since I read her book, but Sally K. Norton's book, Toxic Superfoods. I think she lists the high oxalate and low oxalate foods in her book, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she does too.
Yeah.
It does.
So most kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones. And so it's the oxalate binds to calcium and forms the stone in your kidney. So that's oftentimes how they form. Dehydration, however, can be a trigger. So yeah, so being, you know, being properly hydrated is important. But if you're doing keto, you know, that's the caution there. So like, you know, I used to do keto and, you know, I would eat all kinds of almonds and spinach salads all the time. Well, those are high oxalate foods, you know, and then if you eat something with calcium along at the same time that you eat with the oxalate, then they can bind in your stomach and pass through your stool. But if you eat something that's oxalate in the absence of calcium, then the oxalate gets absorbed in your body. And then later you eat something that's high in calcium, that gets absorbed in your body, and now it's in your bloodstream binding together, getting deposited in your kidneys. So that's the caution there. So yeah, it could be calcium, it could be oxalate, could be uric acid, could be other minerals that form stones. But you know, the reason they're forming stones is because, you know, dehydration could have been a major player there. So when it comes
It's funny. So I took some farm equipment over to a friend of mine's, and they know I'm carnivore, and they're meat centric because of me. I helped them advise them on that because my friend's wife had become a type 2 diabetic, and I helped her get off of that. She's no longer type 2. Her doctor's just amazed. But anyhow, but they're still more meat centric, more keto, not so much carnivore. But anyway, so we go over there and they had lunch prepared, and pulled pork, pork ribs, all great. She made a quiche. She said, "Well, you can have this, can't you?" And I said, "Well, it depends on what's in it." And she goes, "Oh, well, it's
I'll be back.
bacon and Swiss cheese and spinach." And I went, "Well, I'll pass. Thank you very much." And she's, "You can't eat spinach?" I said, "I won't eat spinach. I can eat anything I want, but I won't eat spinach. It's too high in oxalates." You know, if it had just a little bit of onion or something in it, I probably would have indulged, but I'm not going to deal with spinach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like spinach anyway, so
I used to eat it all the time.
What about peanuts? Because I've been having I had some organic peanut butter today, and I felt really good after I had that. So I don't know.
As far as oxalates, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what they have. So I can't really tell you. I do know.
Oxalates, it has. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Say again, Dave.
I was going to say, if a plant doesn't have oxalates, it's going to have other defense chemicals, and all plants have a
defense chemical.
True. Yeah. You're better off just avoiding all that stuff. Sorry.
Well,
it's hard on you.
For me, it's more sustainable if I have more foods. I've tried carnivore, and I know it works for so many people, but I couldn't get it to work for me.
Right.
You know? So that's why I added back organic peanut butter, butternut squash, what else? Coleslaw mix, which I know people are like glyphosate, like
okay,
is all that.
All right. Well, so do a Google search,
Mm-hmm.
and just look up what are low oxalate foods,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and then put that on your list of what you can be willing to eat. You know, and get rid of it. You know, let's get rid of the worst and keep the less bad.
Yeah, and just keep on doing an N=1 experiment on yourself. You know, just, you know, I mean, if something doesn't work for you and it makes you feel icky, then don't do it anymore. Yeah,
exactly.
I heard you mention butternut squash. That's actually low in oxalate.
Okay, that's
There
good.
you go.
Yeah, and that would be considered like a fruit. You know, that's something like Paul Saladino would say. You know, cucumber and a squash is actually a fruit, and it is. It's a fruit of a plant. So
Exactly.
yeah. So just since you have had kidney stones, I would say, you know, get a list. And I think over on Carnivore Talk, in the download section, we have a file that anybody can download.
Okay.
That's
And Sally Norton's website has a
food
list
chart.
on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark C.
Here's this
Hammer
one. I'll post
183
the link to this
posted
one.
peanuts can have reactive mold.
Yeah, I was reading that myself.
Oh, I love peanut butter.
I used to.
I do too, but I don't eat it.
Oh no.
I used to eat like a jar a day.
It's organic.
Oh, I couldn't walk by a jar without grabbing a spoon and just.
Yep.
You know,
That's what I do.
I used to call them peanut butter lollipops. Yeah.
So I just shared 2 links. There's 2 files that you can download from my site that's got, you know, oxalate information, oxalate food lists and stuff like that too. You go check it out.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Jason said, doctors get their knowledge from books. I've been reading books for 21 years, and about this topic, I say I'm more qualified. Yeah.
you bet.
So, you know, there's a lot of truth to that. I'm definitely know a lot more about diet, nutrition, and kidneys than my PCP.
No doubt about that.
Well,
I've had
tried to
to
kill
teach
you.
them a few things.
It also depends on who wrote the book. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Your doctor said to avoid red meat. Listen to me. I'm not a doctor. So, and that my doctor said that. And no red meat. No more red meat. Never eat red
Either
meat.
avoid red meat or avoid the fat.
Yeah. Yawn.
That's what my nutrition class textbook said.
Yeah. Leah JCS 22 is my first time here. Thank you for joining us. You're very welcome here. We're happy to have you. So glad you
I've
could.
seen Leah in a few things. So.
Hopefully you're enjoying the good association and maybe learning a few things. So we're glad to have you here. Uncle Charlie says, "Is that green Charlie me?" Yeah. So on the wheel, that Charlie was you because you were on screen as a guest during January. So you got 3 entries because anyone that came on screen got an entry and 2 bonus entries for that month. So you were on there with 3 entries. And Dr. Nelson, I see my name on there. Same thing. He had 3 entries because he was a guest during the month of January. So if anybody was confused as to why their name was on there and they didn't expect it to be, that was part of the rules. And that's why your name was on there. But it's all irrelevant now because we have a winner in the top right corner of the screen here. Very good.
Can't wait.
Yes. 111 says, I always eat the same stuff. I like having this perfect digestion. And the reason I highlighted that is most people actually eat the same thing every day. Like even those who aren't dieting. People who wake up, they usually have the same breakfast and then they pack the same lunch to take to work. The only thing that really changes is dinner. You know, so when people are like, how can you do the carnivore diet? Don't you get bored of eating the same stuff all the time? It's like, dude, you're eating the same stuff all the time. You know, you're every day, your ham sandwich, your bag of Doritos, you know, like, you know,
the difference is for most of us, once we get past the addictions, then food becomes a source of nutrition. We no longer eat for entertainment. We eat for the nutrition. I thought about that today. I did like Mitch did, and I generally don't cook my eggs this way. I don't like to cook my eggs this way, but I just make scrambled up some eggs, put them in a pan, sprinkle a little blue cheese in there and some salt. And when they were done on one side, I flipped them over and cooked them on the other side, kind of like an open face omelet, with virtually nothing in it. And first time I saw him cook eggs like that, I thought, man, what a boring way to eat eggs. That just looks terrible, unless you fold it over and make an omelet out of it. But I've tried it a couple of times and I went, I don't really care now because I'm not eating for entertainment. I'm eating for nutrition. I needed some food in my belly before I went out and worked on fence and brush cutting all day. So it was just about the nutrition. I ate it the whole time I'm eating it. I'm thinking, I don't mind this because it's all about putting food in my body, and that's it.
Guys, I have to take my nighttime meds, so I'm going to jump off, but I'll be in the comments.
All right. Good to see you. Have a good night.
You
for
too,
joining
Mike.
me.
Lexi.
All right. And it's 10 o'clock. So if anybody else would like to join us on screen, I'm going to post the link in the chat right now for the large group of people on YouTube who are watching and the one person on Facebook that's watching. and very good. So yes, you can click that link and you can join us on screen with your device. We'd love to have you. If you haven't been on before, we'd love to meet you. It doesn't matter what kind of diet you have, as long as you're cool. You got questions, we'll answer them. Or if you are keto, carnivore, animal-based, and you got some experiences, some good news you'd like to share, we'd sure love to hear it. And that'll probably be your last call because we technically closing time is officially 10:30, although we often drag ourselves to 11. So we're in our last stretch. DS11 says, I wrap my steaks I cut myself in simple fold-top sandwich bags because I can easily squeeze the air out. So I usually do that too. I put them in Ziploc quart freezer bags myself. So
that's what I do too. But
And that's a form of sealing it.
Yeah.
Getting all the air out. When I use baggies for stuff like that, I'll fill the sink up with water, and I'll dip the baggie down in the water till it just gets right to the seal. Zip it shut. All the air is pushed out from the pressure of the water.
That is clever. I like that.
I wish I could say it's my claim to fame that I invented it, but I didn't. I got it from somebody else.
It's been done before.
Yeah, that's
But
so
it works good. When I'm making bacon and I put my marinade, I'll take my bacon and I cut it up into half-pound chunks of pork belly, and I got my marinade, my brine marinade, and what I'll do is I'll put that in a quart size baggie, and I put so much marinade in it, and then to get the marinade to infuse all around it, that's what I'll do is I'll dip it down in my water and push all that air out, and then zip it shut, and that doesn't leave any pockets around it. The marinade gets all around it, and I don't have to rotate the bags near as often.
That's cool.
Now, when I was talking about the meat I have in my freezer, I've got some meat also that could be up to 2 years old that's in those quart bags that I squeezed the air out. I either squeezed it out or sucked it out with a straw and then sealed it. So
They may be all right.
those may be all right. Okay.
Get them out and check them out. Try it out.
My meat never lasts long enough to be there for that long because I shop once a month and then I rotate. So
yeah.
By the time I get to that,
like I said, I've got 3 freezers, so
I have an apartment, so 3 freezers.
Right. Well, and I'm truly blessed, because I have a farm. I raise my own animals. We butcher our animals, and so I'm pretty much living off of what we raise. So I'm truly blessed in that. I wish there were more carnivores around me, that I could share this experience with, because it's a pretty cool thing to be able to do, raise your own eggs, raise your own meat. It's just a fantastic.
Now I do have an
way to-
extra chest freezer that I have in there. I just don't think I could fit 3 freezers in my apartment
and
without
so
getting in trouble.
tomorrow, I'm going to try something. I've got something thawing. I've never tried this on my own. I mean, I've had it one time and I didn't care for it, but I'm going to try it this time. Is when they gave me back one of my cows. Of course, I get the organs when I have any of my animals butchered. I always get the kidneys, I get the liver, and the heart. I want those, and I love them. Well, so my processor this time gave me a couple of things I wasn't expecting, and one of them was cheek meat, which is all right. It comes off the cow. They got heavy cheeks. That ought to be really good. I'm going to grill that. The other one was the tongue, and I have not cooked tongue before, so I've been reading up on how to cook it, and it looks pretty straightforward. I've had it one time in tacos, lingua tacos, and I didn't care for the texture. So I'm not sure how I'm going to like this. If it turns out I don't care for the texture, I don't like it, I got dogs. They'll eat it. They'll be happy to have it.
Yeah,
what I'm going to do with it.
I'm trying organ meats little by little. I just had a few weeks ago, I had the heart.
Oh, heart's wonderful.
It's like the first time having it, and it's oh my God.
Yeah. When I deer hunt, a lot of guys, shoot for the heart. I try to avoid the heart. It breaks my heart when I hit the heart, because it destroys it. In fact, last deer I killed earlier this year, I nicked the heart. Fortunately, it wasn't too damaged, so I was able to save it. But like a deer heart will be about the size of my fist.
Right.
But when I butcher a cow's heart will be.
It's a little bigger. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like that. It's huge. It's a huge heart, and they're nice. They're real nice.
Oh no, I was so pleased when I had it. It was like,
well, it's just a muscle, It's just a muscle. And what I like to do, back when I ate poorly, I used to like to. I'd take my heart and I'd slice it up and I'd fry it up with potatoes and onions. That used to be my favorite way to eat it, but of course I don't eat that stuff anymore. So what I do now with it is I brush it with butter and I grill it over an open fire. I'll cut it in slices and I'll grill it over an open fire. It's mighty good stuff.
I just took beef tallow and just put it inside the skillet and just let it cook.
Yeah.
And I didn't even cook it all the way. I just kind of like.
And you can add it to things too. You can cube it up and add it. Like if you're doing let's say if you're doing a roast. Mm-hmm. Slow cooking a roast in a crock pot or something, you got some bone broth in it. You can put that in there, cube it up, and put it in there, and then along with that, with the meat broth, you now have a soup, that has those chunks of heart in it.
Yeah. So I guess my next experiment is going to be tongue.
Yeah. Now what I'm going to do with this tongue is I'm going to simmer it for several hours to tenderize it and to loosen the skin on it. Then I'm going to pull it out, and this is just what I've been reading to do. So it's
right. Yeah, I heard that too.
Pull it out, and while it's still warm, get the skin off of it. If you wait too long, it's too hard to get off. But peel the skin off of it, and then you've just got the pure meat. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to slice that into thin slices and pan fry it in some butter or some tallow.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same.
I'm going to see how that works for like a breakfast meat or something.
Yeah, I agree.
So this freezer discussion here. So I was talking about freezer, the chest freezer and meat that I have that's frozen that, does it ever go bad? So if I was to get a chest freezer and buy a cow or a partial go in on a cow, how should I have my meat wrapped or packaged so that it does not get freezer burnt in time? Because it's going to take a long time to eat. Vacuum seal?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the only way to do it.
All right. Because I know sometimes, when you go down to the local butcher, they just wrap it in paper, So you say get a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal all of it.
Yeah, make the investment.
Hopefully they vacuum seal it. That's a lot of meat.
They might if you pay them enough, you know,
Mhm.
pay them some extra.
All right. Jamette says, do you think freezing and thawing is better than just raw meat? And does date in freezer matter?
Yes
Well,
and no.
it might matter
Depends on if
based on what
there's
we've been
air.
discussing so far. Do you think freezing and thawing is better than just raw meat? You mean like going to buy fresh meat, coming home and cooking it? I think that would be better. Or it might not matter. You know,
Freezing and thawing doesn't affect the meat in any way that I know of, unless it's been in the freezer for a really, really long time. It actually keeps your meat fresh. I mean, for me, I think it's better to go buy like a whole rib roast. Cut the steaks as thick as you want. Keep a couple out to cook that day, freeze the rest. And they'll be just fine.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if Juju's talking about like Dr. Kilt's eating raw meat all the time, like if she's talking about like that particular concept.
Well, I think
You
it's
know, because
yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Fresh meat to me is well, is it better than just raw meat? I don't think it's any worse. I don't think raw freezing and thawing is any worse than raw.
right.
Would I prefer fresh raw meat? Yeah.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
Does
So-
the date in the freezer matter? Yeah, to an extent. But if it's packaged properly, wrapped properly, it'll last for a long time.
Exactly.
So Jamette says yes, Thomas.
No air.
And chat hasn't showed up in the screen yet, but so yeah, you mentioned Dr. Kiltson eating raw meat. So
yeah.
is eating raw meat better than freezing, thawing, and then eating the raw meat? Again, it probably wouldn't matter. Freezing, thawing, and then cooking the meat. My personal belief is that it doesn't really matter much. So I'm not big on the raw meat thing. I don't think it's as it is true that when you cook it, you're going to lose some of its vitamin and nutrient value, but it's a smidge, you know.
Right.
So go listen to Bart K's opinion, and he says that humans are evolved to eat cooked meat, you know, and he cooks his well done. So that's the way Bart K likes it.
Yeah, I'm not
That's just
involved,
nasty.
so.
I don't disagree with him in many places, but I'll disagree with him on that.
I actually like my meat pretty raw, so pretty rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rare, medium rare, blue rare. That's fine. If you want to eat raw meat, eat raw meat. You know, I mean, you know, that's completely fine. You know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's this. I don't think.
If I
don't think there's a
overcook it, I'd
difference.
put like 10,000 pounds of salt on it, basically, and
I don't think that, like, if you usually cook your meat rare or blue rare, and then you decide I'm going to eat it raw, that you're going to have this miraculous out of body experience because oh my God, I had it raw and what a world of difference. No, I don't think so.
I at the very least I do black and blue. You know?
I've had plenty of raw in the form of steak tartare.
Yep.
Best I ever had was over in Germany at a hockey game. It was fantastic. Pariza, which is a South Texas dish you get at the butcher shops. You eat it with saltine crackers,
Yep.
and it's chopped up beef, you know, with some seasonings in it. And I eat a ton of raw fish.
Sashimi is.
Yeah. I'll go tuna fishing, catch a couple of big tuna. And when I'm packaging them up, you know, carving them up, I've got a bowl of Ponzi sauce sitting over there, and I'm putting the raw in there and picking it out and snacking on it while I'm packaging the fish. But I like my lamb, my beef. I like my pork a medium. I still want it pink, but when it comes to my beef, my lamb, I want it rare.
Yeah.
And like I
told
you,
you want it fully cooked, but you know,
like I told a server, we took some friends of ours that had never been to Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse in Fort Worth, and it's a highfalutin place. And so, and I'd never had anybody ask me to define in finite terms how I wanted my steak cooked. Because when he asked me, I said, "Well, I'll have the ribeye, and I'd like it rare, please." He says, "So, do you want it? When you say rare, do you want it warm in the center or cool in the center?" And I said, "Well, I've never had anybody ask me that before, but I'll tell you what. I'll put it to you this way: if it comes out blue, you won't hurt my feelings none." And they brought it to me blue, and it was delicious.
All right. Jamet also asks, how long can you leave meat in the freezer? And yeah, that's been a consistent theme. Depends on how it was wrapped.
If it's been vacuum sealed, it'll last for a very, very long time.
Like I said, I've had meat up to 2 years in the freezer that was vacuum sealed, and it was just fine.
All right, there you go. Nutrients can be lost if in freezer for too long, as well as loss of flavor. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't argue that. That would make sense.
Yeah.
So, especially unless if it's, depending on how, again, you wrap it, I bet you the vacuum seal probably preserves it better than other methods.
Right.
So, DS111, I'm going to eat pizza next week. What the heck? I don't have any vices. I may have pulled that out of context.
Probably.
Yeah. But if you are, I mean, that's entirely up to you. So, just,
If
what? If you do, one slice, and then you're right back on carnivore. So,
back when I was an Adkins advocate, when I ate Adkins all the time, we'd take the kids out for pizza night. I wouldn't eat the pizza. I'd scrape the toppings off.
mm-hmm.
And then I felt guilty about doing it because I'd have all these crusts sitting there, and I thought, man, this just don't look good. I felt kind of guilty about that.
Yeah, I've got a congregation is doing a bowling event coming up in March, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to pave money for bowling, and then there's going to be all kinds of pizzas. And
hey, so speaking of congregations, that reminds me of something. So since we moved here back in September, we haven't had a church home. So we've been looking. We're going around to different churches every Sunday. So we went to one this last Sunday that we really liked, and so I'm going through their newsletter and their prayer list, and I'm looking through this prayer list. And this is an older congregation. There's some young people there. I was really pleased to see some young adults there, but mostly it's people my age or even older. Anyways, I'm looking through this list, and I'm seeing all these lists of ailments. Almost everybody on the prayer list was for ailments, for this, that, or the other thing, diabetes or, heart problems, whatever. And I'm going through this, and I'm like, I might have a carnivore ministry right here.
mm-hmm.
I might just have a carnivore ministry. It just popped into my head.
Yeah. So you might be the answer.
Maybe.
So
I'll see where I'm led.
Or the messenger. So just the messenger. A bacon runner. Is anyone observing Fat Tuesday in any way? I don't even know what Fat Tuesday is. I've never heard of such a thing.
I'm guessing it's on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Catholic thing?
No, is it Mardi Gras?
That's party.
Oh, okay. Mardi Gras.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna tell you what. So I got invited on a long motorcycle ride by another motorcycle club I know, a bunch of veterans. They invited me down to their nationals down in New Orleans. I said, "Yeah, man, I ain't never been to New Orleans. Driven through it, never spent any time there. Yeah, I want to go." So I went down there with them. Glad I did it, so I know how bad it is, but no desire to ever go back to that place again.
I guess it's good to experience something at least once.
Yeah, I tell you what, it wasn't Mardi Gras time. I hate to know what it's like during Mardi Gras. It was just a weekend down there on Bourbon Street. But man, you talk about debauchery. Woo. It was rough.
All right. So yeah, I never heard of Fat Tuesday. Jamette says instead of bread, Bob got me into egg life wraps. They are so yum, better than bread to me. So yeah, for instance, tonight, okay, here's what I did before getting on Carnivore Talk and before creating my thumbnail. I came home hungry, and I had some pork rinds and a beef jerky, and then I got out 2 egg life wraps, and I got out some sour cream, and I have pepper jack cheese slices. I put that in there, and I used 2 of them flat, put it in the microwaved it for a little over a minute until the cheese was nice and melted. And it was a sour cream and cheese quesadilla.
Nice.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I had carnivore friendly quesadillas, before I went live tonight. Very delicious. The egg life wraps. I was going to say carnivore wraps. The egg life wraps are very nice. You can do a lot of things with them.
Yep. I like making breakfast tacos with them.
Mm-hmm.
I got my
I do that too.
90-year-old mother started on those.
Yeah. Eggs, sausage, maybe some mayonnaise, or bacon, and right with an egg life wrap makes a delicious breakfast.
And just strips of steak too, like a fajita.
Yeah, I was gonna say steak or chicken, like chicken quesadillas.
Mm-hmm. Jason asks again. This might be out of context, but it caught my eye. Some sourdough bread made with a ton of butter allowed?
We jumped on him. We jumped on him.
Okay,
we jumped all over him for that.
Your body, your choice.
He was just joking.
Okay. So
are we sure?
But it's allowed.
Yeah.
You do you.
So remember, allowed. Everyone here is allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the one that has to face the consequences.
Yeah. If you want to have a slice of sourdough bread once in a while, it's probably not going to kill you,
And the more butter, the better.
And I've
Well,
heard,
yeah, if you're gonna do it, might as well put like tons of butter on it.
I've seen some videos that say that, compared to all of your bread options out there, sourdough is probably on the top of your best list.
Right.
If you're going to eat it, that's if you're going to eat bread, sourdough's one you might want to opt for. So
certain one, the one with like 3 ingredients.
Right.
Yeah. No, didn't Paul Saladino say something that?
Yeah, he has a video on it. Sourdough bread. If you're going to eat, if he said that if he was going to, and he don't eat bread, if he was going to eat bread, that
would be the one he would choose, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, long before I ever did carnivore, I used to keep my own sourdough culture.
Okay.
And I'd make sourdough biscuits. And my wife absolutely loved them. She kind of didn't like it when I quit making them.
Let's see here. Jason asks, if there was one carb source you could eat without consequence, what would it be and why? Without consequence.
Without consequence for me, pizza.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. If there's anything I miss, it's probably pizza.
Yeah.
I could eat a whole pie, man. I just once I start, I can't stop.
Well, one of the things I do actually is when I go to the pizza place, sometimes I can't do it. Sometimes I do have to eat the whole thing, but I usually just ask them for like a small thing of like fresh mozzarella, some pepperoni, and some ground meat, and I just put it in the bowl, and then I just put like some hot sauce in it, and to me, it's not much different.
We have a couple pizza places around here. Like one of them is Marco's, and they make a crustless pizza. So sometimes the family wants to get pizza, and of course I won't eat pizza, but they'll get me a crustless pizza. So it'll come in a tray.
Basically.
Yeah, it'll come in a tray, and then they'll have a ladle of tomato sauce with the cheese, and then whatever toppings you want. So if they're doing pizza, I'll usually do that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I do mine with the hot sauce over the tomato sauce.
Yeah. So
or
Mexican food, I still go get Mexican once in a while, but I'm very picky and I try to make it as much carnivore or keto friendly as I can.
Yeah.
But if I had it my way, I'd go ahead and give me the burrito with the big 14-inch tortilla and the rice and the beans and the whole. That's the other one. So I'd be a coin toss between pizza and any Mexican food on the menu.
Right, like Bubba Coos or Chipotle or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, these days I wouldn't even scrape the toppings because I don't want the tomato sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's why I don't do the tomato sauce, because I'm a little
right.
weird.
Right. Now,
So I was saying we're going to have this congregation bowling event, and you'll pay for the bowling, and they're going to have a bunch of pizzas. And so if I get hungry, that's what I'll do. I'll pull the toppings off, and it will have tomato sauce stuck to it, and I kind of don't care.
And if you can tolerate the tomato sauce, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just remember my experience with eating a little chili one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah, my chili experience had to do with the beans for sure, because I can tolerate tomatoes and tomato sauce, salsa, and stuff like that. I use once in a while as a garnish. But with me and some friends, we're already planning on not eating the pizza and going to BW3s afterwards for some wings. So, so I'm going to avoid eating pizza toppings because I'm going to get some much better food afterwards.
Now, when I was Adkins, I used to make a deep dish pizza without any crust. And it was absolutely delicious. It was more like a pizza lasagna where you just lay the sauce, lay the meat, lay the cheese, and then another layer of sauce, and then meat, and then cheese. Yeah. It was fantastic.
You guys are making
and I could still do that if I did it with an Alfredo sauce rather than a red sauce.
Yeah, that's true.
So you want to know what my guilty pleasure is if it's going to be carbs?
Sure.
I love air pop popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Just the kernels, and I melt in a Pyrex two cup.
Your microphone dropped you.
Oh, it did? Can you hear me now?
You're super quiet.
Oh, I don't know why. Anyway, I'll speak up. I melt an entire stick of butter in the microwave, and I pour that all over the big bowl of popcorn. I love that. Have it once a year.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any consequence doing it. Oh, yeah, I got the runs afterwards. That was it.
Every once in a while, we go to Cinemark to watch a movie, and my wife will get some popcorn, and I'll usually have a few kernels of that, and I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. So.
But other than that, I eat meat every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the kick of eating 73.27 ground beef for $3.99 a pound now. And I love them. I do 1.5 pounds a day, and it's simple, and I'm done. I just eat once a day.
That's a good price too.
Yeah.
$2.99 a pound. Yeah, that's excellent. $3.99 a pound. That's still good. Yeah.
Speaking of pizza, I wonder if those egg life wraps would work.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Brush the egg life wrap with butter. Put your white sauce on it. Put your meat on it. Put some cheese on it. Throw it in the oven.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah,
I have to try that.
Yeah, that'd be worth experimenting on.
Yeah.
Carnivore Jerry says, I'm live at noon on Saturday and Sunday. We're all busy on lives every weekend. So I did not know that. So Carnivore Jerry. Let me click your name over here. Go to channel. Hold on. I just clicked the wrong thing. Go to channel. I don't think I was aware. Oh, let me pause it. It's going to autoplay. Well, look at that. I wasn't aware that you produced content.
Oh, yeah. No, I do produce content. But,
Subscribe. There we go.
There you go.
I'll go check that out later. All right. Very good. So she's live on Saturday. Okay. So, yeah. And then, so I was talking about, I'm considering Saturday. So, yeah, right now, so so Rick is at 8 till time indefinite. You're at noon. And, Tom's at 4, so it sounds like 2 o'clock would be a good time, but I'm thinking 6 o'clock would be better because I sometimes like to work Saturday and make a little extra money. So that's probably what I'll be doing. Yep. All right. Question: what is
The middle
natural
of a forest.
essence in flavored water? I don't know. I don't think nobody knows. It's a top secret formula. It's the same thing.
Could it be like that natural flavoring?
natural
Right.
flavors? That's what this says. Is carbonated water and natural flavors. It's not going to focus. Natural flavors is kind of like their secret, whatever, and we don't know what it is, but it's still 99.99% water, so I wouldn't worry about it.
And Juju just reminded that Mitch is on Saturdays at 7 p.m.
Oh, I thought he only did mornings.
No, he does some night times too.
Okay.
Usually his night times are paneled, and usually his mornings are just him.
Saturday's starting to look crowded. Well, I might as well make it 4.
Oh, great.
I'll figure it out. Sue Galletley, carbonated drinks don't make you feel bloated. It does me. No, actually, I drink these carbonated drinks all the time like it's water, and I'm good. So they don't have a negative effect on me whatsoever. Charlie asked, what's the name of that guy, Rick's show?
Charger Mopar.
Charger Mopar.
Yeah, just Live at 8 with Rick. That's it. Oh, his channel is Charger Mopar.
His channel's Charger.
Yeah, his channel is Charger Mopar. Live at 8 with Rick on Saturdays.
Yeah, it's called the Milton Show. That's what it's called.
The what?
The Milton Show.
The Milton Show. Yeah. I purchased Redmond's by the 25-pound bag. Love it in water and on my meat and fish. That's a lot of salt. Very good. 25 pounds lasts me years. And I brought this up because I've heard this term before. She says, I've never had the meat sweats in my life. I've heard people talk about the meat sweats. I don't know if I've ever had meat sweats. Have you ever had meat sweats?
No.
Yeah.
No. But I do agree that Rick's Heart Attack Burger probably would be the one thing I would give it to you.
Yeah. I went to Texas State, Brazil, and ate and out-ate everybody that I went with that was in my company, and I didn't have any meat sweats. So
I get my money's worth there, no doubt.
Charger Rick never takes electrolytes. Sort of there. I do salt my food. I occasionally take a magnesium. I don't take any potassium though. And I'm fine. I have no electrolyte issues now that I quit the phenofibrate. Paul says a CMP blood lab will report potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Yes, it will. Complete metabolic panel. That'll also test your kidney and liver function. And Sue Galletley says, has anyone tried protein chips? The brand is Wild. 10 grams of protein in one serving. Love the salt and vinegar flavor. So let's look it up.
Yeah, probably not clean.
Wild protein chips.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the ingredients to consider it.
Wild brands. And let me accept the cookies. Chicken breast. Oh, they're chicken breast chips. Oh, I may have had them before.
Yeah, but were they mixed with is the question.
I don't know. All products. And we'll go sea salt and vinegar. And let me zoom in. It says antibiotic-free chicken breast. Oh, so it's got 8 carbohydrates and 2 grams of fiber. The second ingredient is native tapioca starch. Third ingredient is high oleic expeller pressed sunflower oil. Then egg whites, bone broth, and then contains less than 2% white vinegar, sea salt, citric acid, et cetera, et cetera. So wild chicken protein may be the first ingredient. Very close behind that in second place is the native tapioca starch, which is a carbohydrate.
No bueno. No bueno.
Yeah, I think I agree with Jeff on that
And
one. I really
hate it when they say this antibiotic free or something like that on these, it is a bogus selling point. It's kind of like Cheerios having the heart healthy emblem, on their box. It's a bogus selling point because all your meat has to be antibiotic free.
Right.
That's by law. Okay. It all has to go through a washout period before it's ever butchered, and presented to the public. That just drives me nuts.
So Sue, it depends on what kind of diet and lifestyle you are trying to maintain. So if you are carnivore, this is a no-no. If you're a strict carnivore, this is a no-no. It's got the tapioca.
Make your
starch.
own.
It's got the tapioca starch, and that's a carbohydrate. All right. Now, if you're keto, you might be able to eat these, and you're just fine. But there are some cautions. The cautions would be the expeller pressed sunflower oil. That's a seed oil. So, and again, you might be able to tolerate a little bit of seed oil in your life, and it's no big deal for you. And if so, then enjoy your wild protein chips. If you are trying to avoid seed oils like the plague, like many of us do, then this would all be off the list. So your answer kind of depends on your chosen diet and lifestyle. These are what you would say keto friendly.
And did you see the comment Rick just made?
Yeah.
Not yet. I haven't, because I'm staring at the camera and not the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he basically just says tapioca root has cyanide.
Okay. All right. And so does a number of other things. So,
right.
I agree with Rick. Heat up some lard and fry that chicken.
Yeah.
Get her done.
Right. But your answer the answer Sue is looking for, I need to know more about Sue. That's the problem, So if Sue wants to be a carnivore, then I would avoid these. If Sue is ketovore or keto and wants to have these once in a while, it's probably not going to hurt you. So if Sue has health issues, autoimmune issues, pain, etc., then getting rid of these and cleaning it up and trying to be more pure might benefit you. So those are all food for thoughts. So because remember,
and now
we don't care if you're carnivore, ketovore, animal based, anything, as long as you're carnivore centric, as long as you're meat centric, hyper carnivore, 70% or more, then we fall all under the same umbrella as far as I'm concerned. All right. She says, okay, I saw those ingredients, but they are a treat once in a while and better than chips. Yeah, that's accurate. That is absolutely true. So if it's, keyword once in a while,
Fair enough. Yep.
Yeah. Like if you go into a gas station and you grab those once a month, probably, who cares,
Have you tried clean pork rinds?
But if you're eating those every day, maybe it's problematic. And again, that depends on you and your situation and your health. And get some pork rinds.
Yeah.
I think pork rinds,
some nice cold butter,
super tasty. And I eat pork rinds that are flavored. I'll eat the barbecue pork rinds. I'll eat the chili lemon pork rinds. So, that's entirely up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely, I'm personally would try and stay away from tapioca starch because it's a grain. It's just it's substituting for the potato in a potato chip. That's what the tapioca starch is there for, as a binding agent. So, where are we here? Lexus, who was on screen a short while ago. I've been revisiting the idea of tapering off some of the 12 medications I take. What are your thoughts? So, taper, not quit cold turkey for sure. And I would say depends on the med. 12 is a lot. Are there some that you probably don't need? Probably. I don't know what they are. And that's best discussion to have with your doctor. So, yeah. That's I know with your condition and the type of meds you take, just stop taking them suddenly could be disastrous for you. So, there's some medications, yeah, absolutely, you can just quit. But there's a lot of medications that you have to, what you said there, taper. You have to reduce that dose every couple weeks and draw it out over like 6 months. So be careful. Can it be done? Sure, but
It's done best if your body is metabolically healthy.
right. Yeah,
So make sure you're eating properly.
Yeah. So, so a week ago you were, off the rails, got gastritis. Now you're 5 days keto now. So I would do, 60, 90, 120 days firm, and before maybe venturing out into this idea of tapering off your meds. Heal yourself metabolically, just like Jeff said, first. Sue says she got some veal liver from a local farm. It was delicious. I've never had veal liver. And Jerry's would suggest a dehydrator to anybody if they're considering having meat because they enjoy their crispy, salty texture. That's on my to-do list, actually. I want to get a dehydrator and make my own jerky.
I quit making jerky and started making biltong.
Mm-hmm.
I like biltong better.
So explain to me what biltong is or what the difference is.
Biltong is dried beef. Now, jerky is dried also, but it's marinated usually like in a soy base, and I want to avoid soy. For me, soy to me is worse than even seed oils. But biltong is marinated in a vinegar and not soy, and it's air dried, whereas jerky is dried, but it's usually dried in a dehydrator, which is different from air drying.
It was heat.
And
yeah.
It takes much longer. It takes days to make biltong. You can't make it, with jerky, you can make it overnight in a dehydrator or even in your oven, but with biltong, it's got to be air dried. So what I did is somebody gave me an electric smoker, a master built electric smoker, and I turned it into a biltong box. So I've got a computer fan on the vents, sucking air out and sucking air in, and I put screens on it, to keep bugs and flies off, and I can hang my biltong in there and let it air dry naturally in the summertime. In the wintertime, I have to add a little bit of heat to it because without the heat, it's not going to dry. It needs to stay around 80 degrees to get it to dry properly. But it's a South African dried meat, sort of you might call it a South African jerky. And it does have seasoning on it. Like it will have coriander seeds, crushed coriander seeds, toasted and crushed. It will have some salt and whatnot on it. And I forget what all. I'd have to look at my recipe. But these are all designed to keep the bugs off of it. Everything about it, the vinegar and everything is all designed to dry the meat naturally and keep it so that the bugs don't get all over it. Keep it clean. But it is so good.
I'll have to try me some biltong then.
I think you can order some on Amazon.
Probably. You can get anything.
And each batch I do, I'm trying a different vinegar to see what I like, white wine or red wine vinegar, malt vinegar. That seems to be a popular one in South Africa.
Starring some comments here, and I came across this. I put up out of order because it's relevant. I've made Nisha's chicken protein chips. So that'd be Nisha Berry. That might be good to go check out.
Yeah. And that probably would be a little bit cleaner then.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. And then I see this here. David, what is your one ingredient? I don't know what that's a reference to. Do you, David?
You said something about one ingredient foods.
One ingredient foods, yeah.
And then Jerry,
Beef.
beef. Jerry says, Jeff, I do not marinate my beef at all. I put the beef on the racks in the dehydrator, sprinkle them with Redmond's real salt, and turn on the unit, wait for it to dry.
That'll work.
Yep.
Best way to do it. I think that's how how Sean Baker makes his dried meat.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know if that's just dried beef or if you can call that jerky. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what makes jerky. Yeah, I've just always heard the term jerked meat.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
She also asks, have you ever taken the biltong and put it with some beef tallow and made bars out of it?
Oh, like a
carnivore bar?
Like
maybe?
a pemmican bar? Or?
like a pemmican? No, I haven't, but I bet it would be good. Yeah, you got my wheels turning now, girl. I might have to try that.
Going back earlier. So I got 20 comments starred and it's 10:45. So we're going to try and, we always try and end at 11. So
do a speed round basically.
we'll blow through some of these. So lions eat fresh meat. They don't freeze. This is going back to the eating raw meat topic.
Right.
And again, if you want to eat raw meat, eat raw meat. So, but I don't, by all means, I do not think it's necessary.
Yeah, but they kill it and eat it on the spot.
Right.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah. So you can.
I have.
Yeah, you can technically, let's say.
And then who you are, right?
You can technically, the thing about plants have toxins, but an animal, you can technically slice it open and eat it on the spot. And, so if you want to do that, great. So there's a couple reasons why we cook. One is it's tasty. We cook because it tastes good to cook. Okay. And two, it could kill any particular germs that may be on the outside of it. So that's why, but if you want to eat raw meat, eat raw meat. Again, there's no harm in it. I just don't think it's the miracle that some kind of promote it to be. So I agree with Dr. Bart K, Professor Bart K, when he says that we've evolved, quote unquote, evolved to eat cooked meat. So Charlie asks, are you guys going to Homesick Buckeye tomorrow? So if I'm not distracted with family, I will tune in. It kind of depends on the circumstances. So at Tuesday, like Taco Tuesday, I didn't mean to start that. That was just to mark my place earlier. For the quesadilla, you make my mouth water with egg life wraps. Yeah, all kinds of. I do all kinds of stuff with egg life wraps. Yeah. Your channel is so informative and relaxing and fun. Well, we appreciate it, and I wouldn't be that way without my guests. So again, a lot of credit goes to Tom and Jeff and Paul, who's not with us anymore, and Dave here. Having a panel of good friends and really cool dudes, is what makes this show. So, cool. Yeah. Carnivore Jerry, does anybody on the panel use spices? Would you ever consider making a meat crust and then putting the spices on top and eat it without a red sauce? Sure, I would definitely consider that. And yes, I use spices still. So, but remember, I am the most reasonable, well, not say reasonable, relaxed carnivore on the panel. So
I was, for a while, I would consider doing what you're talking about as far as making a meat crust or something. I just haven't gone to the trouble to do it. As far as spices, I'm backing off the spices. For a while there, I was pure salt. That's all I use.
Right.
I got down into my maintenance stage where I lost as much as I dared to lose. And I started adding spices back in. And I don't know if it's spices or just the fact we've been working so hard around here, but I've been having some of my arthritis has been flaring up on me.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, I don't know if it's the work, but in fact, I've got to go see a hand specialist next month. My hands are hurting so bad. And my hips have been bothering me and my back's been bothering me. And I thought, I don't know if it's the spices or just all the work I've been doing, on the farm, but I've decided to back off the spices and see if that is causing part of the problem. So I'm back to just plain salt again.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like
that makes sense.
both actually. A little bit of like both mixed in. So
I may be getting some inflammation going on. So
Yeah, that could be.
yeah. I mean, the only
Yeah, that
spice
would
I
make
really do is mostly just the hot sauce. That's probably the closest thing I have. But yeah, it's really just salt for me.
Yeah, so I will. If we do like a taco night, I still use taco seasoning,
Okay.
and then I like to season my ground beef with seasoning. It's made by Badia, but it's basically salt with some onion powder and garlic powder. I like to season it with that. It's very tasty. That's about it. Eggs are just salt. Any outside of that is just salt, but that's about the only. Oh, when I make fish, we'll put the Old Bay seasoning on the fish. So, and that's probably got some paprika and stuff in it,
Yeah.
So yeah, so I still use spices and I don't have any issues.
No.
So,
And I also use cinnamon too when I made my carnivore eggnog too.
Yeah.
So
and like I said, if I pick the toppings off a pizza, I know it's got some red sauce on it, and like I said, if I'm going to cheat, I cheat with. I have nothing against keto and nothing against animal based. So if I'm in a position where I'm eating with others and that happens to be what's around, that's what I'll eat. So, but I'm still carnivore like 95% of the time. So this was an interesting comment from Sue. My guilty pleasure for bread is Dave's Killer Bread. 21 whole grain organic with red pepper hummus spread on it and pumpkin seeds. Okay, so obviously that sounds very good. But the reason I highlighted this is because, again, if you want to eat bread, you eat bread. But I just watched a video yesterday. It was a short, and it was on Brett Cooper. I don't know if you ever heard of Brett Cooper, but she's a young girl. She's got a talk show. And she often talks politics a lot, conservative. But anyway, she was doing this, talking about food. I guess there was some survey recently where they tested the glyphosate content of common breads sold in the grocery store. And even though Dave's Killer Bread is supposed to be all natural, organic, the best of the best, it rated number one. It had the most glyphosate of any bread. The glyphosate's, Roundup, the bug killer that they put on the grains. It had the most glyphosate content of any bread you can buy today.
Which proves his claim of organic is bovine excrement.
Now, what happened though? There's a little history there. So, Dave's Killer Bread. A big food company, another bread manufacturer, one of the big ones, came to him about, I think it was 10 years ago, and made him an offer, and they bought him out. They paid him big bucks. And so, when Dave had the bread company, they used to make every loaf by hand. Now it's made in a factory on a conveyor belt, and they churn out thousands of these a minute. And Dave hasn't made a loaf of bread in 10 years. He's been retired, living on all the money he made from being bought out. So Dave's bread originally was everything he said it was. But
Right.
now today, it's
Ain't
just
no more.
because of big food. It's just another tainted, big food bread processed product. So I thought that was interesting. It was on one of Brett Cooper's episodes. I don't know which one because I saw it in a short, so I don't know what episode that was clipped from. But you might be able to go back and look at her library and kind of figure out, by looking at the topics, what that might have came from. But that I saw that and I was like, wow, because even when I thought this way, I used to okay, if I'm going to have bread, I'm going to have Dave's Killer Bread or I'm going to have Ezekiel bread. That's what I thought. But then when I saw this literally it was just yesterday, I was like, wow, I'll be darned.
They're all going to have them. I don't
Yeah.
care what you eat. They're all going to have them. Max German just did a deal on eggs here earlier in the week or last week, where he did the research on like Vital Farms, Happy Eggs, or whatever they are. It's supposed to be all organic, blah, blah, blah. Well, in a follow-up, I don't know if it was on his channel or another channel, it turns out they're not really pasture raised.
No.
They have a small little area, just enough to say that they're pasture. But the thing is, anybody that's raised chickens, which I do, chicken will lay bare the ground quick because they'll eat the grasses, the bugs, they'll pick everything out of it, and you'll have nothing but bare ground. They have to be rotated, constantly rotated, just like cattle, sheep, goats, whatever. And so when they've examined the eggs, they have found that they haven't been much different than regular eggs. A little bit, but not much, because they're still fed a grain diet. But what the deal was is back when they were in the same vein of thought that you were talking about, when they were owned by Vital Farms, they were more natural. But when they went public is what killed them or what hurt them. Because by going public, now whoever's buying the stock now, the shareholders, they want profit, and they can't get the profit out of doing it the natural way. So they have to go more corporate. So the corporates get a hold of it, and it ruins everything. But I will say, and I agree 100% with Max German when he says this, he said at the end of his video that if you can't get good pasture raised eggs, from the local farmer, whatever, can't raise your own, even the cheapest store-bought eggs are better than no eggs at all. It all breaks down to how sensitive you are to those particular eggs. Me, I'm not sensitive to any of them.
Yep. Yeah, the same. Yeah, and the same way with the beef and the fish too. Like, if you can get Atlantic salmon over farm-raised salmon, do it. If you can get grass-fed beef over regular beef, do it. If you can get a pasture-raised egg over the typical egg, do it. If you can't, don't sweat it. So right. You're still doing good.
It all depends on your system, what you can handle.
All right.
Yeah. Marcus E. Hammer says Dave is living on his own island somewhere, strumming his guitar, and hasn't made a loaf of bread in years. That's probably accurate.
Laughing all the way to the bank.
All righty. I forgot to unstar these. I lost my place real quick. Here, scroll down. That was correct. I highlighted that. We already talked about that and that. I forgot to unstar these. So that's the dehydrator, the Lions Eating Meat, Homesick Buckeye, Taco Tuesday, Egg Life Wraps. Come on. Oh, where are we that close to the end?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Say here's something that caught my eye. So we talked about Nisha's chicken chips.
Yeah.
Rick said, I guess Ken Berry stopped making videos. Oh, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, no. I mean, he might not be doing them as much on YouTube, but he's definitely doing videos.
He's not putting out as many as he used to, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, he still does his Monday night lives, right? He does like a Monday live and a Friday live.
Yeah, not every Monday, but yeah, he does his Monday night lives. But I see a lot of videos on Facebook and Instagram from him. Yeah. So he might be just changing his platform.
And I've been seeing some shorts popping up every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you think about it, he probably can recycle a lot of his stuff too and just put it on, because it's been so long that there's probably a lot of people that haven't seen it.
I think on Carnivore you have to. You run out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
You gotta update it. So
and I've seen Nisha do a few videos too. Never mind, just him.
Yeah, well, she just had some surgery too.
Yeah.
So videos. Oh, okay. So a month ago. And then he had 2 the previous month, and then he had 1 the month before. So he's on an average of once a month.
Yeah, I think most of his videos are on Facebook and
It used to be
Instagram.
almost every day.
Yeah.
Or live.
like-
Well, he does a live streamed a month ago.
Well, you know what he does too is on his live. Sometimes his I forget what her name is, but there's a nurse or somebody that works with him that does the lives for him.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's not always on the lives, like when they're taking a break or something like that. Him and Nisha.
Yeah. Let me pause.
I forget her name, but
Yeah. So his last Monday Night Live was on January 5th. Huh. Interesting. He must be on vacation. I haven't been in his community lately, so I'm a paying member in his community, but I don't take advantage of it as much as I should. All right. So yeah, maybe they're on a vacation or something. I know Nisha's released some videos. She had surgery, so this looks like it's my last comment. Bob, I eat my meat rare or medium rare, never raw. I could eat hamburger raw. ? Again, I know people that eat raw hamburger. I think it's a little more risky.
It is.
yeah, I'd rather do the steak than do the hamburger.
With a steak, if there's any pathogens on it, it's going to get cooked.
Right.
Because they're just on the surface of the meat. With hamburger, if that meat has any pathogens on the outside of the meat, it's going to be ground up into the meat where it can multiply, and then it could be dangerous. But I like my burgers medium, so they're not fully cooked all the way inside, and I haven't gotten sick yet.
Yeah, that's how I do it too.
Even my pork, I eat my pork medium, haven't gotten sick.
So you got Agent 99 says, careful of store-bought eggs with deep yellow yolks, likely dyed. Maybe. So.
Well, yeah. It's what they feed them.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, right there. Yeah. They'll feed them marigold and paprika in their food to make the yolks deep orange. But still, I'll still take that over no eggs at all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest food you can eat.
All right. And Lamb says, I'm out. Thank you, gents, for the nice chat. Have a great night. Jerry says, per usual, another great show tonight. Thanks to the panel and all you chatty folks. And with that, that's the actual last chat comment. And with that, we are done. So I'm not going to bring up another comment. Anybody else want to say anything before we close?
Yeah.
No, I'll go back to the egg deal. I heard Dr. Berry state this several years ago when I first got into carnivore, and I apply it to just about everything now. Let's not let perfection be the enemy of good. And I've always loved that saying. And, he has video out there, and he says it in a lot of his videos, that if all you can afford is hot dogs and bologna, then eat hot dogs and bologna.
Right. It's better
if all
than
you can afford is the cheapest eggs in the store, eat the cheapest eggs in the store. Because it's better than eating the carbs.
Yep.
It's better than eating cereal.
Exactly.
So let's not let perfection be the enemy of good. Eat what you can afford.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. Best way to go about it.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Yep, me too. So, all right, very good. Well, thank you everybody on screen who joined us this evening. The four we got here, and Paul who got disconnected or got tired of us, one or the other.
Or got tired of being disconnected.
Or got tired of being disconnected. Yeah. Sometimes when you're fighting a bad signal, you just kind of like throw in the towel and just watch and from the sidelines, and that's okay. So Paul, if you're watching, thanks for joining us. Tom, congratulations on being the winner.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch. And all those in the chat, we were up in the upper 40s today. We got 30 right now still that are still watching at this point. So those of you that tune in at 8 and you're still with us at 11, well, thank you. You know, that's we really appreciate it, and we hope that we were insightful, we were entertaining, and that you're here because you feel like you're family, just like we feel like you are family. So thank you again, and that's it. I'll click sign off, and everybody have a good week. We'll see you next Monday, or we'll see you over on Carnivore Talk forums. Have a good night, everybody.
y'all.
Thank you. Okay,
Light
good
the
night.
fire, burn the beef.